we get one of the most existential episodes of all time, and one of the matches we voted for has finally arrived. That and more on today's episode of BrobusCast Death Battle Edition. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of BrobusCast. I am your host, Brobuscus. With me today is ZDogg. And Richard.
This seems a little discoordinated.
Alright, we've been recording for this video has been up for probably a minute, and we've already hit our pun. That's a new record, ladies and gents. Well, on top of that, we also have a very special guest. Please welcome. We're just gonna call him Ray. I don't know if he goes by Meatloaf Man anymore, but we're just gonna call him Ray.
Hey guys, yeah, it's all good. I still, for all intents and purposes, go under Meatloaf Man, but howdy everyone, my name is Ray, also known as Meatloaf Man, also known as Moonray. I am a huge fan of Death Battle for pretty much over the past decade. I've been a somewhat of a community member that has been like into, like creating and just generally just being around, just always watching the episodes and like just giving my own feedback and just generally being around the community. Some of you guys know me as the showrunner of Crossover X, and I'm also the writer for my own written versus project called The Gauntlet. And I am also a huge enthusiast of MLP, among other franchises. So I am excited for this upcoming episode and to be on the BrobusCast right now. I am very thankful for you guys for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
This is our best intro we've ever done.
Ray decided to put on his intro suit for that one. Good lord.
I put on my pun suit. Ray put on his intro suit. Beautiful.
Meanwhile, I have a shirt. I have a shirt that just says I'm just here.
Well, you will put on that shirt later on, but you're not just here right now.
That's true, because we have a new episode to talk about real quick.
2 aliens.
Indeed. And it's one that's interesting. I'll say that much.
Yeah, interesting is a great label.
Yep.
Yeah. So Martian Manhunter versus the Silver Surfer. It's out. It's a thing. And yeah.
Everybody breathed a collective meh. That's the best way. That is the best way I have seen this episode summed up in the circles that I'm a part of. It happened.
Yep, it definitely was an episode of Death Battle, so, that's good, I think.
Pretty sure.
But we're here. But we're here to slice open this episode and see. It's like, hey, there's got to be something worthwhile that everybody's missing, right?
Well, I think the best way to get started is, hey, we were right.
Whoa!
Shocker!
No way!
Our streak continues.
Hell yeah!
So, yeah, I mean, no surprises there, honestly. Like,
nah.
No.
I mean, really, when you on first glance, it's just like, oh, well, these two are insanely powerful, like, cosmic tier characters from comic books. Those have got to be pretty crazy, right? And when you dig right into it, well, I mean, the answer is yes, but,
one of them literally has a... Sorry, go ahead.
It's just when you get into like the really tiny details, and it's like it kind of becomes clear that yeah, Silver Surfer's kind of got this one.
I mean, Silver Surfer literally has the power of cosmic.
Yeah, don't screw with the power cosmic. that's the lesson. That's the lesson you should take away from this episode: is don't mess with the power cosmic.
Just like the Speed Force.
Gosh.
Man, the Speed Force and the power of Cosmic need to have a match together to see which one's more bullshit.
You know, it's really funny that you say that because I think Liam said on the Discord that like Silver Surfer versus the Flash would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty interesting.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, that just kind of goes to show how bullshit the power cosmic is.
Yep.
It's a fun time all around. But I mean,
indeed.
What do you want us to say, really? We said that the Silver Surfer would win. He did, and now we're here.
Yep. Sorry to all the Martian Manhunter fans out there. You have my condolences. It's very tragic. Very tragic.
I shall take a bow in your honor.
No.
You can't see me, but I am. Yeah. You can't see me, but I am actually kind of bowing.
Yes. No. It's also very sad. Like one DC, we lost. Not sorry to make this podcast sad for 1 second. We lost one DC character in Death Battle, while another DC actress has bid us adieu. Rest in peace, Arlen Sorkin.
You know,
sorry.
You didn't have to bring that up.
I felt obligated.
Okay, well, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the analysis.
Yes.
So, this one's interesting because, and this is going to become a theme for the rest of this episode, but the analysis here is structured a smidgen different. They actually went through the trouble of like basically covering all of the versus shit first. They kind of like they went over their origins and then they like seamlessly transitioned it into all the versus BS that everybody is absolutely here for. And then seamlessly transitioned it back to their stories and then ended the analysis and we moved on to the fight. But I'm gonna be honest, I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, I think that's done pretty well.
Yeah,
all things considered.
Mm-hmm. You're here.
I mean, at least Martian Manhunter did get me a little more interested in his side of DC. So
Dude,
that was cool.
Okay, I knew that the Martian Manhunter's life kind of sucked, but I did not know it got that bad.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like morphing his body to look like his family just to convince himself that they're still alive. Like, goddamn, man.
Tragedy.
That's like Bruce Wayne bringing back the dead corpses of his parents just to convince himself that they're still. Oh wait, that actually did happen. Never mind. Back. Thanks, Harley Quinn show. Yeah, no, and also too, another lesson, in case this is a lesson you didn't know, the Guardians of the Universe are assholes, little blue assholes, all of them.
I mean,
somehow I'm not surprised.
I was about to say, yeah.
Water is wet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gosh.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess they'll probably save it for when they do Galactus, but I'm kind of surprised they don't go into like the more, because like everyone like Galactus is obviously like has the stereotype of being like he's the big bad, he's the big baddie in all of Marvel. when recently that hasn't been entirely true.
No.
Galactus has kind of operated recently on more of a, I don't want to say morally gray area, but because like
He's close.
he still eats planets with life on them, but like he also has to. Like, it's weird how this works. And I'm just I'm a little surprised that they don't go into that. But I guess that's more of a Galactus thing, not a Silver Surfer thing. But even still, it's like imagine being the Silver Surfer and like basically needing to lead Galactus to a planet with life, and then telling everybody on that planet, hey, by the way, just go ahead and make peace with whatever god you pray to, because
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, it's funny. Between the two, I think Silver Surfer has more blood on his hands than Galactus.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, they can both share.
When you put it that way.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, yeah, this is more of a Galactus, but it's like... It was easier. It really was just easier back in the day when Galactus was just a bad guy who came out, ate planets, and didn't pay no attention to them, and Silver Surfer had to be the one to shoulder the burden and the horrors of being essentially this guy's... I don't know how to say this. Essentially, being his scout to go see the best restaurants in town and see what's good to eat.
That's an apt comparison, but I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, I do want to give a shout out to Parker because I don't think we gave him his due last time.
Yeah.
He's definitely he's improving.
Yes, man is popping off with these motion comic effects, especially that one where Silver Surfer's lying on his back on the board and his leg is
that was
kicking
great.
up and down. I love that.
I like that one a lot. Yeah, they're definitely more animated than they were in Raven versus Phoenix.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, good job for you.
Yeah. Only thing I don't like about the analysis is, man, why is Surfer Boomstick a thing?
Yeah, no, I don't appreciate this. I did not.
Man was totally tubular, and he
You shut your damn mouth.
I didn't like him. I ironically did like that joke.
I did not care. I did not care too much for Surfer Boomstick, especially that end. This is kind of skipping ahead, but I didn't also like how they were quoting Ninja Turtles. Like he just said Ninja Turtles. I was like, yeah, that's
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now you're making me want another Ninja Turtle back in Death Battle that isn't Leonardo. Maybe you can get to work on that. I hear Brobuscus fancies Michelangelo versus that Ninjago person.
It's true. I do. You speak the truth, my good friend.
So just saying, maybe in the future, give Michelangelo his due respect.
One day.
One day.
Yeah, whenever. Yeah, one day.
One day. Sorry.
Sure. Why not? But yeah, no. The conclusion was also pretty good. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. They literally said what we said. Stat-wise, both these two were pretty much evenly matched, and it just came down to, okay, John had his OP telepath in one corner, and Silver Surfer had the power cosmic in the other corner, and the power cosmic naturally trumped John's telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Even though they did make a point that maybe John's telepathy could have worked on Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer has been mentally attacked before, but they brought up, it's like, oh, but he was able to resist some telepathy attacks. So it kind of just cancels it out.
The Mind Stone is no joke.
No, it is not. The Mind Stone is no joke. Or Mind Gem. I hate that. God dang it, OCD.
Same difference, whatever.
No, it's not the same difference. They're both, one is a stone, one's a gem.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna find a contact that seemed on my phone that just might care.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you right now, I certainly don't.
That's fair enough. It's again. It's like MCU synergy, and it never fails.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I agree. I concur. The analysis was pretty good, and experimenting and actually having versus stats first, done properly, by the way, because this isn't the first time they've done this. They did try to do this in season 8, but it didn't work so good. But I feel like they learned from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they learned from that, and it was done much better and seamlessly this time around. And yeah, just makes us realize that both of these two aliens are the most saddest people on their respective planets, and they need one giant hug.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. There you go.
Like, please, DC, Marvel, why do you hate these characters? Give them a damn win.
Oh, they hate all their characters. Let's be real.
That is true. It's distinctively written in their Bible that says DC Comics shall hate every character that doesn't have the name Batman.
I mean, yeah. I was trying to think of a way to argue against that, but nope.
Nope, we can't.
Okay, so springboarding a little bit. The most contentious part of this whole episode, that's honest to God, the talking point, and man, when we go back and do our season ranking, this is going to be hard. The animation, the fight animation.
Yep.
Okay, so first off, just to get a positive out of the way real quick, can we just say one of the best damn openings like ever?
Yeah. I would probably agree with that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I am a sucker for the 1940s film noir aesthetic. I love that shit. And it fits perfectly with John, because John is a literal police detective. And whenever I was introduced to him in visual mediums such as The Batman and Justice League Final Frontier, they took on that film noir aesthetic that John had back in his early days, and they just ran with it. So having it here is just fucking beautiful. And by the way, seeing the behind the scenes with the sprite riggers and how they did it, just seeing these sprites in color kind of ruins it for me. So thank God they actually did go black and white, because if it was just in color, it would have killed the whole thing.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of wish like the entire fight was black and white. Honestly, like not just the opening. I kind of wish. I know they kind of do in certain places, but like, man, I mean, I don't know. I just because like with such a strong opening, I kind of wish they like would have kept that theme going for like more of the fight.
I don't agree.
I feel like it was appropriately used at the beginning and brought back again. I do kind of feel like, okay, it's meant to, because the black and white segments have purpose. If it was just throughout the whole fight, then that would have taken away from the impact, especially when we get to the ending. I feel like it just would have taken away. It wouldn't have hit as hard. So I actually feel like having just the beginning and the end segment being black and white, that's actually beautiful. And again, that it isn't just when we look back at it, it isn't just for the film noir aesthetic. It actually kind of encompasses both of their kind of ideologies.
I will say, so Josh directed this episode, and he commented on the commentary, like I think an idea was brought up, like they have the whole fight in this like noir black and white style, but because they're like in space, there would have been something missing had the rest of the fight not been in black and white. And to add on to that, in my opinion, with how like colorful some of these effects are, and especially like Jean's design, just in general, I feel like I would have been a little disappointed if the entire fight had been black and white.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a good alternative would have been a kind of sepia tone, because that has also been kind of used for retro noir aesthetics. It's not always just in the black and white. I know film noir and black and white are literally peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. But sepia tone would have also been something I would have been curious if they would have experimented with. I'm not saying they should have used it. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm
happy.
Sorry. I guess it really depends on the fighters involved. Maybe like if it was a more grounded, down-to-earth kind of fight, it probably would have worked as well in black and white, especially if the characters are known for it. But I do agree in the sense that like probably if the whole fight had been in black and white, it might have made some visual effects a bit harder to perceive, and it would also kind of like bring into question like well, why would the assets all need to be like colored in the first place if the entire fight is just gonna be black and white? But you guys raise excellent points, so.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point too.
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I still think, well, I get what you're saying. I just think like it would have made it a little bit cooler, but I totally understand why not, and I do hope that they bring it back for like another match, like Ray said, like a more grounded one. That'd be cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also too, getting into we get some NES Silver Surfer references.
I was about to say like that shot of them like flying around and just the still sprites overhead. It's so goofy, it's so silly, and I can't help but love it.
And he even does the pose. Game over.
He does the pose.
Yeah.
He does the pose.
Guys, he did the thing.
That's the thing he does. It sure is, sir. Yeah, no, I did, and I also I want to talk about. Can I just gush over Moro and his god tier hand drawn Martian dragon design?
Yeah, okay, I will admit that is freaking sick, and it looks very good.
It was Moro needs to chill the hell down with his with his god tier 2D hand drawn designs, because oh my god, it may have just been one segment, but again, just like Raven versus Phoenix, it is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It looks it doesn't have any jank in it. It really does flow very seamlessly, because I have noticed that, like, you can tell when a hand drawn effect kind of doesn't look all that right. It looks kind of clunky.
I mean, you say Moro needs to cool down. I say let him cook.
Look, man, I'm loving the burgers. You don't need to put more spices on them. I love them.
So should we address the elephant in the room, or do we?
It's not the dragon, so might as well.
I mean, the dragon was literally the highlight. Let's speak the elephant.
Okay, so this fight isn't really much of a fight, or at least not in the sense that you might think.
I mean, obviously, they fight like hits our landed.
Yeah.
Attacks are thrown out. But like
Fight
that's
is
not
Hands are indeed thrown.
Yeah, yes. Hands are thrown, lasers are fired, transformations are used, duplicates, all of the cool shit you would expect from these two type of characters to do. But this goes in an untraditional sense.
Yeah.
It's not even fair to call this a fight.
Because this is more of like a battle of like philosophy.
Existential.
Yeah, existentialism. Because throughout the entire fight, there's the question on the back of both of their minds: why are we here?
Justice.
I mean, we got it in the preview. Like we saw Jean asking Surfer like why did you summon me here, and we don't get an answer. Up until and it's gonna be that it left us the viewers wondering too, like what is exactly the setup here?
The set of circumstances. Yeah. What are the circumstances behind this altercation?
And as it turns out, there isn't one. I mean, there's an answer, but the whole like reason why they're here, the one of life's great mysteries. I don't freaking know. We just kind of were brought here, and now we're fighting, and I don't know why, but you're also going to die now.
Yes, and then they pile onto that by the ending, the kill ending.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of it's breaking the fourth wall without actually breaking the fourth wall. Cause like it kind of makes you. I saw a comment on, I think it was Biffweed's ranking video. That was basically saying like it made people think of Death Battle as a show in a bit of a different light, lore-wise, I should say. Because a lot of the time, we kind of just settled on, oh yeah, it's a simulation, the end, and we were okay with that. And now here we are, and both of them are kind of asking like, I don't freaking know what's going on. Do you? It's like, well, no, but we are also like only one of us can walk out of here. Why? How? I don't know, but just go with it. But it led to a lot of interesting reactions. I say that as if people outright despise this episode. I don't think I've seen anybody go that far, but
the worst I've seen is like people said it's just,
it's there.
Yeah, no, I have not seen. I've actively searched. So far, I haven't seen anybody say this is outright a bad episode for its execution and what it was experimenting with. But I have seen this kind of just go over people's head in what it's trying to tell and what it's trying to accomplish. They essentially just wanted more. It all came down to, look, we got two aliens. What do I want to see two aliens do? I want to see them pew pew, pow pow. I want to see fisticuffs. I want to see, a battle of physicality and abilities. I don't want to see existentialism or philosophies being thrown at each other. But to counter that kind of would have been
death battles.
Yes, the stuff you find in your typical death battle. But for this episode, it kind of would have gone against the characters. Like I mentioned this off camera, and Brobuscus agreed, and I think everybody can if you just look into this a little further. This is probably the best characterization in terms of Marvel versus DC combatants we've had up to date.
Yeah, I'd probably, I'd say the same, yeah. I think something that really helps carry this episode a lot is definitely like the writing in terms of like just obviously, as we discussed earlier, like hearing like their backstories and then all of it just culminating into like it's probably one of the most beautiful fight sequences we've seen all season. If only not just for the visuals, but also for like the writing itself, just how both John Jones and Silver Surfer are both characterized. Because yeah, like when you have both of them in there, the both of them are like wondering like what the heck is going on. They both know something's not right, and it's interesting because like we discussed, like I've been hearing people say like this is kind of like the first time like in a meta sense that the characters are like aware that they're in some kind of like like they're being forced somehow in some cosmic sense to fight each other, but they're not sure why. And obviously from our perspective we know obviously that they they're being put into like a death battle, and they're like in the show, and that they're like the goal of this segment is to like see who will come out on top. But for those characters, they don't really know that, and throughout the series we've been like treated to many different variations of like how these fights go down, because sometimes they can be simulations, but then there's other times where there are actual like stakes on the line. I think weird example, but one that definitely comes to mind is like the Seven Royale, where like apparently there were actual like like there were actual characters like physically there, like there were civilians that could potentially get hurt and all that.
That one was a simulation. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Wink.
And then I guess if you also want to count it, there is also Death Race to consider as well, with I think the Batman
Oh yeah.
Royale with the citizens of Gotham and all that. Because obviously, if it was just a simulation, then Wiz and Boomstick would just be like, oh, okay, this isn't real. But obviously, like from their perspective, apparently everything is like actually happening. So, but it does really make you question a lot about like show from like from a meta sense, because it's kind of weird. Like I guess one criticism I will say about the episode is that Wiz and Boomstick, besides their initial comments, don't really say or speak too much about like how both the combatants are able to realize like sort of what's going on. It would have kind of sort of been cool to like hear their perspective on like, oh, we're thrown into like this weird enclosed space where like we're just fighting each other, we don't know why, but like all we know is that we have to fight each other, and only one of us can walk away alive. So it would have been like nice to sort of have a little like that doesn't always happen. I wonder like why they were like the first characters to really, who weren't fourth wall breakers, to really understand like, oh yeah, like something about this just doesn't seem right. But I mean, besides that though, like it all the more makes this episode like a whole lot more interesting than what it initially seems like on the surface, and that's something that I can really appreciate about it.
Absolutely, and I want to just bounce off that and just say, I think, and I'm going to be saying this like a lot, just in a bubble, you just condense this whole ending emotional segment where both Silver Surfer and John are coming to this conclusion that they know why they were brought here. They were brought here to kill one another, but they don't know why. And when John loses, and the last thing he tells the Surfer is, "I hope you can live with that." And Silver Surfer drops that beautiful monologue saying he may never know why or how, but in the end, and this kind of goes back to what Ray was saying about the fourth wall here, and being kind of meta, and what Brobuscus has been saying as well is both. It's like Silver Surfer won the fight, but he took no excitement from it, and if anything, him winning the fight has just added more baggage to his already existing load that he carries from just being a scouter for Galactus. And essentially now he has more blood on his hands, and it leaves him very morbid. He's brooding, and he's just at a loss. And I like that. And that's where the black and white segment beautifully comes back. This whole moment, in my opinion, this whole little bubble is probably my favorite kind of writing they've done since Popeye versus Saitama, where you just have that one little rare moment where the character just stops. Everything stops, everything pauses, and the character is commenting, the combatant is commenting on what's happening instead of just continuing to go forth with tradition and just fight. Don't stop, don't question it, don't think about it, just fight. I love it when they do that. And I feel like this little moment right here is the best I've seen it to date. And it's probably going to be what makes me elevate it more when I have to go back and I have to look at it and appreciate it. But to kind of, get my own little criticism out of the way, because I have to agree with the people. I feel like we needed more time with these characters. And when I say more time, I don't mean that we needed more fight, because that's that to me, that just would have gone against what this episode was trying to say and do. It didn't matter if they were fighting. It wasn't going to end with them throwing hands. It was going to end with one of them just coming to the conclusion that they have to kill each other. They don't know why. They just have to. And it's not going to be something they'll take relish in. They will legit carry this with them after this is all said and done. I would have liked to see more of their interactions. I feel like that would have just made it even more sweeter. Like, maybe as the fight progresses more, they start... You get a sense that they're either one of them or both of them are starting to figure out what's going on without ever mentioning that, hey, we're here because two idiots put us here to fight for, their amusement or other people's amusement. I'm just saying, like, just have them figure that out. We both know why we're here, and we're going to do what we set out to do, but that doesn't mean that we have to take enjoyment in it, because, again, I really feel like this episode was painting the picture that, god dang, these two could have been the best of friends. They could have been good companions. Sure. They could have been such beautiful souls together, because they both are essentially the same character, except they're both at different circumstances that led them to their predicament as, tragic souls and such. That's what I wanted to see. And I feel like that kind of undercuts the moment, that beautiful ending, which I love, but it had virtually no animation built up. Maybe Brobuscus did mention this. He made a great comment about this, and I think Biffweed more or less said the same thing. There is build up to this moment. It's in the analysis portion. But that's just it. If I don't want it to just be built up in the analysis, I really want to see it in the animation. I want to see it play out. That's the whole reason why fights that, like Vader versus Obito, for example, it didn't just have little build up. It had a lot of build up. It was able to symbolically have a good build up the characters from whom they once were and give us a glimpse at them one more time from their point of views. Here, it doesn't feel like we got that. It feels like we just had questions. The questions were figured out way too early, way too easily for both of them. They fought. Once they realized fighting is pointless, that they're both evenly matched, they go into the sun, and all of a sudden now they both know why. They tell each other what they know, the revelation they figured out, and it just ends. It just ends. That's it. I feel like that's the best way to. Even though I don't like saying it like this, but I think if you just had to summarize this whole experience, it just happened. There was not enough organic build-up to make you feel enough. You felt something, you did feel things, but you didn't feel more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's like getting, all right, I swear to God, this will be the last time I use a restaurant comparison. It's like getting served half a meal. You have half a pound of a great burger, fries, drink. All that is in halves. You don't have enough of it. You love it. It's tasteful. It's a good meal. But did it fully satisfy your stomach? Can you say you're full? No, you can't. You want more. So you go up to the counter and you demand more.
Yeah, that's a perfectly fair comparison. I do also agree in the sense that it would have been cool to have a bit more context and a little bit more time with the characters. I think what we ended up getting for probably the limitations of what a death battle nowadays is able to give us was satisfactory enough, but sure, I would have loved to have seen an extended script of this or something that dives in a little more with the both of them.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure the crew themselves would like that too.
Yeah.
I think, and I mean, I guess there's no better way to talk about this than now, but I feel like I understand back in season 2 days, is this the Death Battles version of back in my day? I know in the season 2 days we got a lot of fights that reached the 5-minute mark, the 6-minute mark, and then there's freaking Goku vs Superman, which reaches almost the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that we just don't have the time or resources for that anymore. Okay, maybe the resources, but definitely not the budget.
Say, no. I would like to just jump in. I think we do have enough of the resources, but the time, not so much.
Yeah. And just... There was another point I was going to make. In general, I don't remember what it was.
Hold on. Time, resources. Maybe if you try just running it back, that always helps me.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm focused on something else right now. That I should probably focus on when we get to our next discussion.
Fair enough.
Okay. I don't know. It's we definitely could have fights that reach that mark again, but the fact is we're just not there anymore. We're and I say that because I've seen a lot of people less so nowadays, but I'm still seeing people be like, man, why is this episode so short? If this was a season 2 episode, it would have been 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
And here I am to comment. My counter to that is basically, yeah, it probably would have been 6 minutes long, but it also probably wouldn't have been as good.
No, it wouldn't have. But to be fair, and we have to throw in another monkey wrench into the equation. They have no breaks this year. They're doing this all in one go with no mid-season breaks, no stop, no rest. They have to get these episodes out every 2 weeks until December. So they're actively running around on the clock, just trying to get these episodes out as fast as possible. So it kind of makes the situation worse. I mean, granted, that does kind of impact that unfortunately time will only tell. We have 8 more episodes. We have 8 more episodes left, but time will only tell if that's really going to impact the season at all. I mean, in my opinion, if we're just going off of episode animation length, yeah, it is kind of impacting it, but everything else seems to be chugging along fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like maybe once we get to the I want to be an optimist and say once we get to the later half, I feel like that's when things are just going to all of a sudden kick off and explode. Like, maybe we will get a fight that'll go up to 4 minutes. Most likely going to be a 3D fight. Who knows? But point is like, I get it. Look, I get it. You want a longer fight. I want a longer fight, but I want it for different reasons than you do. And just in terms of this episode.
I just think, like, I think a more fair criticism would be, like, that they don't do enough with the time they have. And that's fair. But...
Yeah, that seems to be the point.
But I'm just saying, if we... Because a lot of people say, like, we need to add an extra minute to like, any animation. Not just this one, but just any of them. And I'm just sitting here like, if they added an extra minute, it'd probably sacrifice something else. What that something else is, I don't freaking know. But I mean, I don't work on this show, so what can I say? But
no, you're right. Well, that's a question. I'm gonna put a pin in that question for our season ranking, because I feel like that's a great opportunity for our season ranking when we go back and we have to watch all of these episodes again and determine where they rank in our personal list. I feel like then that's a good question to bring up. What could have people complained about this animation needed an extra minute, but what specifically would it have added or taken away?
Yeah.
Because I feel like something like Darth Vader versus Obito, an extra minute probably would have ruined what that episode was already doing a good job at. But then this episode would have benefited from an extra minute. So it is kind of, like it's two different things. An extra minute's not going to help every episode this season.
It's just I think I just think you need to ask yourself this: if you want to add an extra minute to like your episode, that's cool, that's fair. But then you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to get that extra minute? Because I guarantee you're gonna have to give up something. It could be a few extra effects. It could be, because the thing is that each second they add onto a fight is extra money, and it's not cheap. Like,
especially when you get to the 3D or the hand-drawn episodes.
I'm tired of people thinking they know, like, oh yeah, they could have added an extra minute, sure. Like, they could have added this, they could have added that, they could have added this, they could have added that. I'm tired of people thinking that, because they don't work on the show, so what would they know exactly?
Yeah, and we're no different. Like, we consider ourselves death battle connoisseurs, but because we've been watching the show for so damn long, so we're essentially we know and we've seen how they've grown and adapted as the years have gone on. So we can understand that, we can look at that type of thinking and we can say, okay, but why specifically does this episode need an extra minute? What would it have added or detracted? And then the most generalized answer that I hear, and I even talked to your only mate about this on Monday, he pretty much gave me the textbook example of what everybody else was thinking with this episode, with these two particular characters. Action, action, action. Action is all well and good, but it's kind of irrelevant in this matter, because, again, this episode is, in my opinion, it's a prime candidate of, yes, it did need an extra minute, but it didn't need that extra minute for more pointless action. It needed it for it desperately needed an extra minute for the extra bit of characterization. That's what it would have added. something like that is important, but other episodes, yeah, Brobuscus hit the nail on the head. If you just want an extra minute for Stitch versus Rocket, for example, because you want to see more comedy, well, okay, then that would have just dragged it out for far too long. More minutes doesn't mean good. It really depends on the case. It's a case-by-case basis. So, again, I'm tired of it too, but I really wish people would just give their opinion. They would really just give, not a detailed long opinion, but just say more than one thing. Just saying more than 2 words, or 3 words in this case. It needed more action. I don't like that line of thinking.
Oh wait, that's 4.
It's very one-dimensional.
It's very
Yeah.
Anyway, we got the rest of the episode.
ZDogg, you've been uncharacteristically quiet. Do you have anything to add?
I don't know. I mean, I do agree with, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Just
No. Give
no.
thoughts.
I got you. I kind of respect what they want to do with this fight. It's just, I don't know. Just personally, just what they would. It's hard because, like, obviously it's not going to work with everyone, but like what they were trying to do didn't really click with me. Like I can understand, like I can respect like the experimental aspect of it. It's just, I don't know, I just didn't vibe with it personally. Like, is it like, obviously it's like, and I want to preface this, like, obviously it's not, it's obviously a well made, it's obviously all the parts of it are well put together. But I don't know, like, me personally, I kind of would have appreciated, like, them using more of their powers, even though that kind of would have gone against it. But I don't know, because, like, what we do have, it's fine. It just personally really uninterests me. I won't lie. And, like, if that had to be sacrificed in the way of, like, doing, like, the whole storytelling thing, that's fine. It just, I don't know, it just personally doesn't work for me, unfortunately. And, like, obviously I still, like, the team is, like, talented. I don't want to, like, get it across I'm like shit, like I hate this episode. No, it's very well put together. I just, compared to every other episode this season, and you know my trend of ranking things in last, I just find it kind of it doesn't grab me like the other episodes do, which is a shame, because there are really good aspects here, like we discussed. It's just
yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
But not every episode's gonna work for everybody. And,
for sure. No, let me preface. If you don't like this episode, then, like, okay, cool, like, whatever. Like, like, don't try to let us don't let us ruin. We're trying to, like, see the best in everything, basically.
Our opinion is not the be all end all of all death battle content creators.
Yeah.
Like, if you like, if there are aspects that we criticize that you like, freaking feel free to like them. Obviously, your opinion matters. It's just, we're just explaining how we feel on the situation, and that's just that.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. It's no big deal. I mean, it's a shame,
I do at least appreciate the more experimental aspect of this, like especially with how many Marvel DCs they've done. I'm glad they I'm glad that they want to mix it up with stuff like this, with aspects of this.
That's another thing we didn't even bother going into. It was for a Marvel versus DC fight, I'm not doing that. I'm just mimicking the sound of what every Death Battle fan makes whenever they hear Marvel versus DC fight. Give them credit where it's due. This isn't This wasn't your standard Marvel versus DC fight. this kind of is this is kind of an this is an anomaly. Marvel versus DC fight, like this. The fact that they experimented with it with a Marvel versus DC fight of all things, that makes me happy because that shows that they themselves are catching on, or they have caught on, that hey, not every Marvel versus DC fight that we announce is going to tickle somebody's fancy. We need to make them see it. Like, it has to be something that they can cling on to, and it has to be something that they can enjoy instead of just expecting the same thing again and again and again. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Is it cool? Like, don't get me wrong. Is everybody justified for being a little trepidatious and a little unenthusiastic for when a Marvel vs. DC fight is announced? Absolutely. Yeah. But if we find out, if what we see and hear, hey, we got you, we know it's not your tea, but we're gonna make it something you're not gonna see coming. We're going to experiment. Then you start picking up interest, and that's good. So, but I just feel like, had this episode had that extra minute of characterization, then maybe enough people actually would have said, that was pretty dope. Because the only Marvel vs. DC fight that everybody's unanimously liked this season is Raven vs. Phoenix. Because it gave them what they wanted. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least there's one aspect that I don't think is going to fly under people's radar. This voice acting is amazing.
Voice acting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can definitely agree
yes.
there.
Absolutely. This voice acting. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so of all the people I had on my bingo card to voice Martian Manhunter, I wasn't expecting Cameron Nicod. That took me by surprise.
Yes, Cameron. Hey, I'm not complaining.
No, I'm not either.
More Cameron. There's no such thing as too much Cameron.
True.
And I'm gonna be upfront. This is my favorite performance from him by a country mile.
No, I concur. Like, sorry to his Mario performance, his Sephiroth. Well, okay, maybe his Sephiroth performance. That's a close second for me. And his Boba Fett. But this is probably the best performance he's ever given on the show. Like, I think he set the bar high for himself because, okay, so I actually did, when I watched the behind the scenes from the animators that worked on this animation, I got to hear a little bit of what Cameron's performance sound like, because they did use a filter to make his voice sound more John Jonesy. That is a sentence. And his bass performance that he was given, it sounded pretty good. It almost sounded like it's hard to describe. It sounds like he was just doing a more monotone version of his Sephiroth performance. It was very calm, subdued. It almost sounded like ASMR at times, from what little I could hear. I'm not even, that's no exaggeration, because again...
No, it's not, though. That's what's funny.
Yeah, it's like, he legitimately he fully embodied John Jones. And then when the audio engineers put that filter on him, I swear to God, I swear to God, it sounded just like Carl Lumbly's performance from Justice League / Justice League Unlimited. It was almost uncanny.
Yeah, it's crazy how good it was.
Yes, and especially when he's asking the questions like, "What are you hiding?" I was like, "Oh my God!" It's like, man, stop! Man is speaking. Man is. Yeah, what secrets are you hiding? Man is saying these lines as if he's going to reach in and grab my heart.
Your secrets. secrets.
It's like, do you want to kill me, or do you want to put me to or do you want to make me feel like I'm high, or do you want to make me feel like I'm high on acid? Because you're doing one.
Are you trying to kill me or put me to sleep, or both?
Yeah, exactly. It's a dead it's a dead spot on performance. Oh my god. It was. But then, okay, as great as which, by the way, also ripped to Cameron's streak. Rest in peace.
Yeah. No, his streak ended with freaking Black Adam.
I was gonna say.
Oh, that's right.
So now he's on a losing streak. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah. That's another performance I forgot. I can't believe I forgot his performance as Black Adam. Sorry. But let's be real. I think we all know who the real MVP of this fight, voice acting wise, is.
I mean, I don't know if I entirely agree, but he still does a really good job. It's Paul. I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. Paul Guyet. I think that's how you say his name.
I just call him. I almost want to say Guyet.
Maybe.
Paul G. Well, that's where
Paul G.
Yeah. Well, Paul G.
The simplicity stand. Yeah, they're good.
I love him. I love him so goddamn much.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I do prefer generally I would prefer like more high energy voices. Like I mean, just a random example, like Lanny's Vegeta in the last season still lives rent free in my head.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's also nice when we can just like sit back and I've said this before, but simplicity is key.
Yes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, you're probably not gonna get a super high energy, incredibly high performance from the Silver Surfer. That's just not who he is.
No. I mean, even going back to from what little I can remember of his performance on Superhero Squad, he wasn't that all energetic. He had a calm, childlike innocence to him in that show.
Yeah.
So good on them for once again. Yeah, just again. Best Marvel versus DC characterization to date, and that extends into the voice acting.
Yeah, I don't know how popular the words. English is my first language, I swear. I don't know how popular of opinion this is gonna be, but this might be my favorite voice performance this season so far. From both of them.
Yeah, just in terms of both of them, yes, absolutely. I mean, because Cameron's gone through a huge range in his career with Death Battle.
I mean, yeah. When your first two roles are Sephiroth to Mario, I mean, yeah.
The jokes that spawn from that are still great.
Yeah.
It's a super Nova.
Wahoo! But yeah.
I swear to God, if my strings are that powerful, I want to get Cameron in a call with us just so he can do Sephiroth dialogue about his Mario.
Hello, that's a mine.
Oh my gosh.
We can dream.
Voice actors have so much power, it's crazy.
They really do, and again, it really feels like, man, we've and hey, that's another add-on to, it's like, hey, more returning voice actors. We've had Kira, we've had Tom, we've had Cameron, we've even had returns of recent voice actors. So please keep it coming. Please keep it coming. I love hearing these actors come back.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, no. I have no objections of this voice cast. These two actors had such great chemistry, and Paul G's delivery on that end monologue.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
I was crying on the inside. I legit was crying on the inside. It was very beautiful. It's very touching, and it just hit me like, oh my! I didn't know what to say. I was legit speechless. Like even now, I feel I don't know how to properly describe it. It really was just. It's probably one of my favorite deliveries of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
Yeah.
Like Paul is a strong contender. In my opinion, Paul and Cameron are strong contenders to potentially win the male voice actor category for the Death Battle Awards next year.
Maybe. Yeah, definitely hope we see more of Paul again. Oh wait, hold on, we actually might get more of him because if you if you go to his Twitter, he's actually gone on record to say that he. Hold on, let me see if I get this. If I'm looking this up because if I get this wrong, that's gonna be super freaking embarrassing.
No, it's fine. Yes.
Okay, so even before, I'm just gonna throw both of them. He made a couple tweets about being in Death Battle, even before, like one of which was even before, this episode was even announced. I'm just gonna put them in our chat because we're probably going to be hearing from this guy again pretty soon.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Oh, he said he was screaming his balls off. So, ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So.
I swear, if he's in the next episode, I swear.
I don't think so, but you know what? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, or if he's in if he's in Cole versus Alex, wink, wink, maybe, hopefully. Look, if he can pull off Alex or Cole, I swear to God, man, I will fucking lose my shit.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Notice how we're like dragging this on long enough because we haven't talked about the music yet.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. All right. Look. Oh man. Okay. Look. Okay. Look. In the music's defense, it fits and goes beautifully with the animation, especially the end conclusion. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't even think I want to mention.
No. I'm just gonna say this: the music is fine. Like I don't have any like strong opinions against it. It's just like it's obviously a lot more low key because this is a pretty low key episode in general.
Yeah, this isn't gonna throw hands with fucking Fireborn, but then again, what isn't at this point? But I mean, hell, it's not even. I don't even think it's worth comparing this to Forevermore. It's not even that because. But I will say I love it when Aaron gets to experiment.
Yeah.
Man's been doing that a lot. First with his Elvis-style inspired song for Jailhouse Rocket, then mashing the two themes together for Forevermore, and now a somber kind of low-key toned film noir score. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Music is fine, and I don't even want to. And I don't even think it's worth mentioning because Water is Wet. But yeah, of course, the fucking album cover is better than God's Hand. It's simple. It works. I like it, even though if you just look at it, you're like, what? So did the Silver Surfer's board just eat Martian Manhunter's cape, and now it's become sentient?
It operates on the cloak of levitation logic.
Yes. I also just love in the background the little planets, and also the reflection on the board looks even better.
Yeah.
Again, water is wet. Just saying.
Yep.
But yeah, the track was fine.
Yep.
I don't mean to point that at a negative comment. It was just fine. It was good.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
what do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I mean, you're not going to get a. I mean, maybe it would have been cool to get a chorus in here, but I don't know.
Well, who knows? And honestly, who cares?
Yeah, it's
but anyways,
out. It happened.
The track is fine, and in general, the episode is fine.
Yes,
it's an episode of no battle. So
If
I definitely think I don't know. I personally really like it.
Yeah, no. If I had to steal from Biff Weed for a second here, I would give it probably the most highest 8 out of 10 I possibly could. It's not a 9 or a 10, but it's better than a 7. I really do feel like it's better than it had any right to be, but it could have been even more better. Like, I've already said my piece on it. It's a good episode, and I honestly have just been struggling. Like, do I think it's the best Marvel versus DC fight this season? I mean, I can't tell you. I have no answer to that. Just come back to me for our season ranking, and then you'll know.
there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. It's very good.
It's definitely. I mean, from my perspective, I like it's definitely well made. It's definitely well put together. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just I personally I can't get into it the same way a lot of people have. Like it, like
Yeah.
it's like it's like there are definitely highlights. Don't get me wrong. Like I do like a lot of parts in the fight. I like I at least really like Martian Manhunters. I thought that was neat. But like just overall, I just can't get behind it. Like I've seen a lot of people get behind it. So, but
Yeah.
not every episode is gonna work for everyone. So, me.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
This is an episode I can like. A lot of times we get episodes that people don't like, and I'm just like, huh, serious? But this is one where I'm like, I mean, okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, especially, I mean, to be fair, look, I'm just going to say it. I feel like this episode, going this route for Martian Manhunters, giving Silver Surfer as Martian Manhunter's opponent went in a much more potential better direction than anything Piccolo versus Martian Manhunter.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. No, this like, I'm so glad they did this instead of Martian Manhunter versus Piccolo.
Yeah, like it's the it would have been the Battle of the Green Man. It's like that is the most boring fucking description I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of them. Just no, fuck off. But like, can we let Gohan keep one father figure, please? I mean, again, it just, I feel like, you know what? It's funny enough. Maybe hypothetically, if that fight happened instead of this one, then maybe people would have been talking about it more, because it's a DC versus a Dragon Ball fight. That's most definitely likely to get more attraction than this type of fight. But again, I'm actually happy.
I guess I can't deny that it would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will about how many times they used Dragon Ball last season, but like, it kind of helps that the episodes are good.
You know what wouldn't have been cool to see? Hot Cheeto Piccolo. I still don't want to see that ever pop up. Thank you very much.
So what do you mean? Anyway.
But like, with this, you get something unique out of it. Like, if we had gotten Piccolo, it would have just been more flying bricks.
Standard. It would have been a shooting, flying, transformations, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and for as much, like, yes, would have been cool. Arguably, it would have been more hype than this fight, but at the end of the day, it's something we've seen before. This is something we haven't seen before. So
yeah, it's
so
better to.
I'll take this.
I would rather have an experimental Marvel versus DC fight than the same shit with a Dragon Ball versus a DC fight. You cannot experiment with that type of matchup pairing. You can't. It's literally going to be the same thing again and again and again. I mean, okay, maybe once in a while you'll get a Reverse Flash versus a Goku Black, but you're not getting this for that type of matchup pairing. It's just not going to happen. So, thank God they were like, hey, what if we put on our thinking caps and we don't do that?
Gasp.
Gasp. I mean, again, and yes, would it have also been cool? It's like, ugh, another Marvel versus DC fight. But it's a Marvel versus Dragon Ball fight. I'm still not looking forward to it. There's no pleasing you fucking people, isn't there?
No,
we're doomed either way.
There just isn't. I don't believe that anymore. Like, they're just...
No. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC versus either each other or somebody else. It's the same fucking thing.
I've said this in another server, but like, I genuinely believe that like everyone keeps saying like that the problem with the Marvel vs. DC fights we've been getting recently is that they're so bunched up together, and I'm just gonna say right now I don't think that matters, because
Season 7 would like to have a word with you if you think they're bunched up together.
I mean, like, I understand the logic, because, like, we're halfway through the season, and half of this half has had Marvel characters.
DC characters.
Heck, three of that half was against DC characters. Like, and then there's Rocket, who's just there. But the point is that, in my opinion, I genuinely don't believe that, any amount of time between Marvel vs. DC episodes would matter, because the second another one pops up, it's gonna get written off. Like what was the excuse? Like, everyone keeps saying, like, we were getting Martian Manhunter vs. Silver Surfer 2 episodes after Phoenix vs. Raven. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fair, but
what does that matter?
Almost this exact same reaction happened when we got Ant-Man vs. Atom, which was a whole half season after the last Marvel vs. DC fight beforehand. I don't know what you people want anymore. I just don't.
No, I've given up. It's like, look, it is literally a damned if they do, damned if they don't situation. And once again, I'll keep saying this. It's not Death Battle's fault that Marvel versus DC is such a popular fucking debate. They're just it just is. That's it. And yes, I also do kind of feel bad because I've been checking the trending numbers this episode so far hasn't gotten on trending, supporting the theory that almost no Marvel vs. DC fight ever gets on trending because people just do not care and they don't like it. I mean, name me one Marvel vs. DC fight that's at least been in somebody's top 3 rankings these past couple of seasons. It's just how it is, folks. Just how it is. So yeah, it's like Brobuscus says, we're doomed to repeat this. I mean, for fuck's sake, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll break the curse. Maybe we'll break the curse one more time, and we'll get a 5th Marvel vs. DC fight that happens this season. I don't fucking know. But what I do know is this: like, there will just be no pleasing you people. You know it again. So it's like, I'm just gonna look. If it's interesting, I'll look forward to it. If it's not, I'll hope they'll prove me wrong.
That was kind of like that was my mentality in season 7. Like yeah, season 7 was half Marvel and DC, but like for me, as long as the matchup sounds cool, I'm chilling. You know, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, yes, this is our 3rd Marvel vs. DC fight this season. Hell, it's the third Marvel vs. DC fight in the first half of the season. Yes, cool. It's still a cool fight, so I don't care. Like, what do you want from me? As long as I like both characters involved and the matchup sounds cool, you get a thumbs up from me for existing. Good sport.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know what you want from me. I really like this episode. I know that's not, like, it's probably not going to be the most popular opinion out there, but I think this episode is pretty damn good. And I have really nothing more to say other than that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good for you too. All right.
So yeah, that was Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. But if any sort of pattern has taught you anything with this show, we're not done yet.
Nope.
We've got another one to talk about.
Yes,
This is a special one. All right, so to quote a famous Spider-Man movie. All right, let's run this back one more time. So last year, they announced Death Battle will be doing something special this season. They would be doing something called Champion Brackets, and what that foretold was they would pick out a Death Battle they would have 2 segments. A 3D segment and a 2D segment. The winner of each segment, that would become an episode. And for the 2D segment...
well, that just so happens to be our next episode.
Yes, this is going to be our first ever champion voted episode. Voted by you, the fans.
Indeed. And, man, they picked a wild line to start off. Say the very least.
Yes.
Because we got some reality warping in our future.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And we're just gonna
It's
keep
Bill
doing
versus
it.
Discord. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's Bill versus Discord.
I'm not leading this charge, so you know.
Fine.
Fair enough. So yes, Bill Cipher from Disney's Gravity Falls versus Discord from Hasbro's, I think, My Little Pony.
Yeah, it's Hasbro.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, I figured. I just, you know. So yeah, yeah. This. I mean, I know we went over this when we went over the Champions Poll the first time round. Kind of surprised this ended up winning. I won't lie, especially with
Honestly,
how big
yeah.
like like with how big like the push for like other matchups were, I'm kind of surprised this one ended up victorious. I won't lie. I'm not complaining about it for reasons we'll get to, but I mean, hey, it's here, so
Yeah.
there you go.
It is here. It is here. Very happy that it got voted. Although, if I'm being honest, if this didn't win, I would have been super okay with Mordecai and Rigby versus Finn and Jake winning. Just throwing that out there. But yes, but you know, hey, maybe next season. Wink, wink. Hopefully. But yeah. So, this is probably the part where we just explain, three of us, because Brobuscus has not seen Gravity Falls, and shame on him for that.
I'll fix that eventually. Get off my back.
Please do.
Eventually. Yes. At the very least, before our season ranking, watch Gravity Falls. But
I can only promise you so little.
It's 2 seasons long. It's 2 seasons. There is no excuse. You can get through 2 seasons easily.
It's also surprisingly pretty short too. It's only like 40 episodes.
Yeah, pretty much. Because season 1's 20 episodes. Well, that and you got the little shorts that take place after season 1. I'm giving Brobuscus more homework intentionally. You see?
I'm probably just gonna watch the main show and be done with it.
Okay, fair. Well, I mean, the shorts are optional. They're optional.
The shorts don't really have much to do with Bill, so I mean, you're gonna be fine if you skip them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hell, if you want,
depending on how much you enjoy the show, I mean, I recommend them.
Yeah,
so.
that's I was about to say, like, if I end up enjoying the show, then maybe I'll give them a look. But
well, there you go. Okay, so, I
think you'll notice that I'm not going to be talking much during this segment. I'm just going to warn everybody watching this video right now.
Yeah. But you still have to give a prediction on who you think is going to win.
I know. I will.
All right. Okay. So, MLP, Gravity Falls. I've watched these things. I've made it clear numerous times. I owe Death Battle for ironically getting me into MLP with my first episode that I watched from them, which was Rainbow Dash vs. Starscream. I say ironically because that episode was never intended to be a serious episode. Go read Ben's blog for further details on that little thing. I loved the show. It was there for me in a time when I needed it. I enjoyed being a part of the Brony and Pega Sister community. I immersed myself in so much of that culture. My brother and sister also immersed themselves, and my favorite thing was watching Bronies react. Ray, I know you know about that. Going back a long time ago. I had my favorite things to do. My favorite things to do was after I was done watching the episode, I would watch a Bronies react, especially to the season 4 finale, which still one of the best things, the best highlights of that season for me, and that's my most vivid memory. And I loved seeing other people talk about the show. And I also this is also going way back. This was on my old channel, but on my old channel, when season 5 was coming out, I did MLP reviews. I would talk about them, and I would go in great detail to the point where even the person who was my first editor told me, he's like, how do you have such a vivid memory of the whole episode from beat to beat? I've never seen that. I was like, no. And of course, comes along Discord. I love Discord. I really next to Rainbow Dash, who was my favorite pony, Applejack. Discord is my favorite. He's my third favorite character. I love this character. He's essentially okay. I think the best way to describe him, he's kind of like if Beerus and Q from Star Trek had a baby. That's a weird image, I know, but just personality-wise, he's got that. He's got that carefree. He's got that attitude that he can do whatever he wants whenever he wants, and I like those type of character types. He was funny. He was an incredible threat when he needed to be, but I won't lie, seeing him kind of be more chilled and have a strong friendship with Fluttershy that kind of mellowed him out. I loved that, and my favorite part was just seeing him and Fluttershy together. And I like Discord. he's a very fun character. There's nothing much else to say other than that. And I am still very sad what Gen 5 has done with him. The less said about that, the better. But yeah, I'm very excited that Discord is here because I've always wanted Discord in Death Battle. Like I was hoping that they wouldn't just use the main 6. They would actually use other characters like Tyrek, like Sunset Shimmer, like Starlight, Celestia, Luna, Discord. Just like there are more characters to use than just the main 6. Just saying. And flip over to Gravity Falls. I love the show. It was great. It was very great. I remember watching that, and it was probably my favorite Disney cartoon I had seen in a long time. The mysteries were fun. The characters were engaging, and just the overarching literal mystery. It was just so fun to solve, and I remember the fan base that grew and how devoted this whole fan base was to this show, to the point where somebody, I can't remember where it originated from, but somebody actually would play back the rewinded whispers at the end of the episode, and they would translate it and to what it actually is saying. That was just some hardcore dedication. And then comes Bill. I liked Bill. He's a very fun, egotistical son of a bitch, and I love him so fucking much. I love this character. His design, simple. He's literally a golden Dorito with a top hat and a cane and an Illuminati eyeball. And which, by the way, I know Brobuscus is not participating in this discussion, but please let me just say, Brobuscus, your design of Bill is so fucking beautiful, and I love it so much. You're welcome. Even love how
you'll never guess what I'm doing right freaking now.
Yeah, I can guess what you're doing right now. I even love how you added the cane. You didn't have to add the cane, but you added the cane, so thank you. I love his little cane and his little top hat combo. It's beautiful. But yes, and Bill was a very credible threat. Well, credible in loose terms. Get to that later. But I loved seeing him. And the only downside is I wanted more of him. And he actually made a decent resurgence because Bill actually appeared on The Simpsons. And they actually did manage... Yes, he did. He was on there for like 5 seconds, and that was still so cool to see Bill back, and they even got Alex Hirsch to voice him again. So yeah, that's awesome. So yes, I love both these shows. I love both these characters, and both of them kind of helped me through the darkest point in my life, which was high school. Don't think I need to elaborate any further on that because we've all been to high school in this. Yeah, we've all been to high school. We know the dark tales and the dark times. So it is very, very cool, and I'm trying not to get emotional right now, but I really do want to thank the fans for bringing this fight into existence, because, and I mean this with absolutely no venom or disrespect, but I know Death Battle, the crew of Death Battle have made it clear they were never going to touch this fight unless special circumstances were involved. And I'm very happy that the fans brought this here. They're the reason it is here. Like, so that shows that while I do call out the community sometimes for their dumbass fuckery on certain things. When we all come together and we're now able to say we brought a matchup to Death Battle. We're responsible. It almost makes us feel like we're executive producers, so to speak. So yeah, thank you. Thank you to all the fans who voted for this fight. Again, had it been Mordecai and Rigby versus Finn and Jake, I would have also loved you. Just saying.
All this is awful bold words for someone who doesn't have their own membership.
Correction, I did have my own membership.
It wasn't your own. You were gifted one. That's not your own. Get your own, you freaking coward.
Matter. At least I can say at one point in time I was a member, and I can also say, look, starting sometime this month, I will be getting my membership back, and it'll be mine now. Okay.
Okay, good.
There you go.
So I'll be voting for the next bracket. So I can now say I voted for a matchup and I'm partially responsible for it, even if it's a bad Marvel versus DC fight, for example. I don't fucking know. But yeah,
all right.
That's it.
Right.
ZDogg, tag in.
All right. So, admittedly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have as much experience with Discord. I know who is a thing mostly because of this matchup, but I'll just be point and blunt. I don't have the emotional connection to MOP like you two do, and but I also don't dislike it. I just kind of respect it. I just think it's there. Maybe I'll get into it one day. But on the other hand, on the complete opposite hand, we have Gravity Falls. So this series is blatant. I'm just gonna be completely honest. It's one of my favorite series the show's ever used. I was there for the very first episode. I was there throughout its entire run. I absolutely adore it. Just all the the characters, the mysteries, the storytelling. It's just, I love it so much. I wanted to come to Death Battle for a very long time, and it's finally here. And of course, they were going to use Bill. I know the other characters have matchups, but come on. But I'm not complaining because Bill is a very good villain. I really like him. His voice, his personality, his design, it's just also good. And he's so devious. He's such a little, he's so entertaining to watch on screen with all he can do, his personality, his voice acting. Thank you, Alex Hirsch. It's just so good. He's such an entertaining character, and I'm very glad he's being brought into the spotlight via Death Battle. And I just can't wait to see what they do with him and what they analyze for Gravity Falls, because I'm just very excited for him to be on in general. All right, cool, Ray, yeah. Your time to go.
Yeah,
for sure. So my experience with both these characters and their franchises. So, it's no secret. Yeah, I'm huge into My Little Pony. It's something that I won't go too deep into details because I've explained it plenty in different places. But it's something that I got into very early on with the show's with Generation 4's lifespan, around 2011-ish, I want to say. So around the time when I got into it, like season 1 was like I think had just wrapped up, so I had just gotten into that. And it's funny too because I remember back before Discord was even like a character that we knew existed, or that we knew much about. It would be like speculation on like what's gonna happen in like season 2 and all that of this cartoon. And I remember hearing that like, oh yeah, there's gonna be this new villain. His name is Discord and all that. And there were people making like their own little like fan art depictions of them before we even knew what he looked like. And you know, it's kind of surreal looking back on that, like just thinking about an era before we had either of these characters. But that was like pretty cool. And of course eventually it did also, it's funny because to contrast with what Rich said, I actually got into Death Battle retroactively thanks to My Little Pony, because Starscream versus Rainbow Dash was also my first episode of that show.
Yeah.
And after seeing that, I went back and I tracked through all the previous Death Battle episodes, and ever since then I haven't looked back. I've been following the series since. And yeah, you know, it was cool like just being introduced to the series in that way. And for all time, like I pretty much had like very close connections to both the communities involved with both MLP and Death Battle. I have so many stories to tell. I'm obviously gonna spare you guys of them, but let's just say that I've had so many awesome experiences in both, and you know, it's a ride that I definitely do not want to get off of anytime soon, in spite of like the occasional like hiccups and toxicity here and there. But that's neither here nor there. But when it comes to Discord in particular, he is a character that I find to be truly fascinating. In terms of like how he was introduced, his power set, his personality. I'm actually gonna like back up what Rich said earlier with the whole like Beerus and Q comparison, because that's pretty much like what Discord is, like more or less, especially when you dive deeper into like his background and everything, and the lore of like the Draconiquus race and all that. He's a cool character. He's very funny. Like I don't think there's been a single Discord episode I've disliked. He's like, he pretty much shines. He steals the show every time he shows up, and he's definitely one of my favorites. Like with Rich next to Rainbow Dash. So I would definitely highly recommend like his episodes if you guys ever like wanna go through a sort of like watching the highlights of the show. Obviously I recommend the entire show as a whole, but if you're just in it for Discord, then you know, definitely his episodes are some of the best out there. And it helps because with his power set and his abilities and with a personality like his, it really lends itself to like a lot of interesting plots and a lot of cool moments throughout the show whenever he's on screen. So it's cool. It's nice seeing him here in Death Battle. I'm really hoping that they'll be able to like explore a lot of like his powers, like including the stuff that is not really like known to the average fan of the show. Because there is some stuff in other media that he does have that would be very important to bring up. And then of course when it comes to Gravity Falls as well, you know, I remember watching it like early on, and I really like the show. It is a phenomenal show. I think Alex Hirsch and his team brought a lot of like a lot of genius elements, and like so much like so many cool things like introduced in that. And I really appreciate, like, despite the show's short length, it left such a huge impact with the animation community, both in terms of like where it led for people who worked on the show, where they were gonna go afterwards with their own creations and all that. Setting it, you know, and also setting a standard with like the level of storytelling that we should be seeing on like these kids networks. And not dumbing down anything for like younger viewers, just like playing things like totally like straightforward, not talking kids down, and also just making a really cool story and a really cool set of characters in general. But then you also have like the community response, and let me just say, like, you know, I said this off camera earlier before we started the show, but there is definitely a whole lot of crossover between both of these communities with Gravity Falls and MLP. I mentioned before that there was a lot of like fan art of both Discord and Bill. So this is very evidently something that people have been wanting to see for a while. It is cool that we're finally getting it. But what definitely stands out the most, besides like people like decoding and deciphering a lot of the hidden messages scattered throughout the show and its expanded media, is like the first thing that immediately comes to mind is the cipher hunt. The cipher hunt is like, yeah.
Yes.
For those unaware, the cipher hunt was basically this huge hunt that Alex Hirsch hosted. It wasn't like an official Disney event, but it's like an event that he on his own grounds hosted, and it was like a worldwide kind of event where Gravity Falls fans from all over the world had to go on a scavenger hunt in order to find the location of the Bill statue that you see at the end of the show. And people eventually did find it after like finding so many clues throughout like so many different intersections of the world, like literally like different buildings, different like locales and all that. There's some videos online that cover it in greater detail. But just seeing stuff like that, it's just like, it's one of the things that really amazed me about like the power of like not even just Gravity Falls fans, but just the animation community, and seeing how powerful your narrative can be, that it inspires so many people to come together and just like take on these cool challenges, and then it eventually leads into like a very cool outcome. And that's something that resonates with me. I definitely want to rewatch the show again, because I remember having a great experience with it. In fact, it's funny, I actually just got my Journal 3 copy in the mail today.
I saw that on Twitter.
Nice. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
I actually, the week before this recording, I actually had just gone on a vacation with friends, and I saw it pop up in like a Target while we were on our way over to our destination. And I was thinking about buying it then and there, but I figured, it'd probably be like extra luggage. But it was cool just still seeing it there in the wild, like all this time later. But yeah, I ordered mine off of Amazon, and I got it just today, so I'm definitely gonna be like looking into this. I've been wanting to get this for like a long time at this point, just haven't been able to, but it's cool. It's surprisingly bigger and meatier than I was expecting, but I'm glad for that. It's a pretty cool premium feeling book.
Yes, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a must-have for like any fan of the show. So
Yeah. I kind of need to get it, because I've known about it for a while, just I haven't had the chance to get it. So maybe I'll.
Yeah.
do that.
I also won't lie.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I also won't lie. I'm like very, very unsatisfied with like how many low-resolution scans there are of this book online. So I'm glad to have
Yes.
a high-quality
Very good.
copy in my hands that I can just read easily. It's much
Yes,
better to understand.
And we'll get back to that, because I do want to bring that up. But also, I want to just mention too, real quick. I also would recommend, since we're talking about Gravity Falls media, I would highly recommend, and this is going to sound urgent when I say this, but I would highly recommend you all now, please go out, and if you are very curious, please buy the DVD pack that was released by Shout Factory. You can find it on their website. You can find it via Amazon or eBay, because it was announced this year, coincidentally, that Shout Factory would be halting their production of releasing the DVD set of Gravity Falls, because Disney, I hate to, they're now back then, but they're now starting to finally pick up with what we've been telling them. Disney sucks at releasing their media that isn't Marvel movies on home media, because before Shout Factory, you had no other way to have physical access to Gravity Falls. But thanks to Shout Factory, they released the whole series. They even got some interviews from the cast. They have amazing behind-the-scenes features talking about the show. It's a great box set. It really is one of my favorite modern-day box sets that I've seen for a show. I actually have nostalgia for this box set, because for my girlfriend's birthday a couple of years ago, I brought her this box set. She still has it. She's a huge fan of the show. and I was like, okay, I need to get her this. And I also just want to say right now, if anybody's curious, to just go off of what Ray said about Alex Hirsch and the animation community. Alex Hirsch is probably the most realist motherfucker I've ever met, I've ever seen, because this man had to, and I mean this, where I'm going with this is, he had to endure a lot of Disney scrutiny and Disney just trying to put their hands in what he was doing, especially with two certain police officer characters that I don't want to spoil what their relationship is, but let's just say Disney was not liking where he was going with this, to where he just had to automatically tell the censors, what are you talking about? They're just good friends. They would even go after him.
I know where this is going.
They would even go after him, and I'm not joking. You can find a YouTube video on it where Alex Hirsch shows screen grabs. Well, maybe not screen grabs, but he shows what Disney executives told him he couldn't do. He would have certain.
Freaking insane. Yeah. What they limited him to say the least.
They didn't want him saying. They didn't want him putting in certain words that seemed harmless. They didn't want him making any reference to death, to things that are just beyond fucking stupid. So this man had to endure the Disney thumb being under him, and he managed to just slap the thumb away and just tell them, fuck off, let me do what I want to do. And another thing too, they actually, Gravity Falls, I'll just say this little trivia factor. Gravity Falls was actually going to be commissioned for a third season because Disney, of course, when something succeeds, they want more of it. It's kind of ironic. Well, which is ironic now because where the fuck was Owl House? More Owl House, you fuckers. Yeah, exactly. So kind of funny now, huh? But back then they were wanting Alex Hirsch to do a third season because they wanted more. They were getting the best ratings and views for Disney XD they had ever had. And Alex Hirsch point blank told them, no, I don't want to do a third season. I'm done. The story has concluded. I feel comfortable ending it here. I want to go and do something else. And they tried to persuade him. They literally tried to persuade him, but ultimately they were like, okay, fine. He doesn't want to do more. It's fine.
Oh. Listen, like I said, it's one of my favorite shows ever. But it concludes in a very perfect little bow. It doesn't need more. Would I have loved to see more? Sure, why not? I mean, yeah. But where it ends is perfect, in my opinion. And if they want to do a spin-off way, way, way down the line, or maybe just spitballing, maybe a Disney Nicktoons Unite-esque thing with Gravity Falls, Amphibia, Owl House, and Phineas and Ferb, that's food for thought. But no.
You had that planned out.
You have no idea, but it's where like I said, it's perfect where it ends.
Yes,
that's it. And you gotta give respect to him for turning it down. I mean, would it have made him more money? Absolutely, but you know what? He cared about where the story went first, and that is very respectful.
He put his integrity first and foremost before the money. That's base, beyond base. Again, it's fun, and again, it's funny nowadays. Disney just cancels things left and right after 1 or 2 seasons, and then if it's something like Amphibia or Owl House, where they're like, we're actually gaining a lot of traction in view figures. Maybe we should reach out to the creator and see if we can patch things up. Oh, the creator just flipped us off and left. Okay, never mind. Well, we tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Gravity Falls was made today, I think it probably would have been lucky if it got 1 season. But the fact that it had a contained perfect series, that's pretty damn rare. It's very damn rare for a series to have that kind of integrity that it can keep and hold on to.
Yeah. right.
I mean,
Sorry.
and, no. Yeah, and I'm just now thinking about it. Like you said, if we had gotten, it would be nice to see more. Yes, I would love to see what these characters are up to. But I kind of feel like the only way we're ever going to get more is if, God forbid, Alex Hirsch just he passes away peacefully, and then Disney, being the money grabbing motherfuckers that they are, they just pick it up, and then they're like, all right, the creator's dead, let's do more.
They pull a Nickelodeon, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Pull a Nickelodeon. It's like,
let's hopefully not go there, please. But
yeah.
So if you couldn't tell, we're very passionate. Like there's a lot to say about both series and both characters. If you couldn't tell.
Yes. This episode is bringing out all of the passion that we've all had all of our lives for both of these things, and that's what I live for. I live for an episode like this, where I stop being a death battle critique, and I can just start being a fucking fan. That's what I love about an episode like this.
Yeah.
So that's our history with the show, and hopefully, my biggest hope is that Brobuscus, whenever he watches Gravity Falls, that he feels the same way towards the show that we do, because again, that's the beauty. If it's understandable if people can't get into Gen 4 of MLP, I respect that. There is nothing wrong with that. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But Gravity Falls is something that anybody can get into. It's a show for anybody and everyone. And just know, if you have that knowledge that the creator went into this, he just wanted to tell his story. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. He wasn't forced to do this. He wasn't succumbing to scrutiny from the company. He at the end of it, he told them to fuck off when they offered and were begging him to do a third season. Just that alone should be enough.
You gotta have balls of steel to tell Disney to piss off.
Yeah, that alone should give you at least some little bit of curious excitement to check out what made this show so good that even the creator told Disney to fuck off when they said, "Can you do another season for us?" No.
Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah, production. Let's talk about this episode's production.
So, I mean, come on, it's pretty obvious. It's a live action fight. Come on, we got it.
Yes, they built.
We finally found the portal to Equestria.
Yes, we are going to. I can confirm that we are going to get. They actually spent most of their budget money. This is why the episodes have been short. They spent most of their budget money to make a live-action animatronic of Discord and Bill Cipher that they can animate and enhance with CG. They pulled out all the stops.
I thought I was watching Death Battle, not Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I hate to say it like this, but I didn't want to say it like this. This is why Ruby didn't get a Volume 10.
All right.
Warner Brothers was like, so
you know, you know what? I was totally willing to let this joke keep going, but then you had to bring that up, and I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Okay, no, for real. Obviously, these sprites, which. Oh, they're gonna look good. I can already tell.
No, they're going to look good.
With how far the sprite team's gone, I mean, come on, how good all the custom sprites have looked this season. We're eating good. We're gonna be eating good.
Yeah.
I can already.
Yes. Also, Brobuscus, you said you're not participating, so automatically you can't shut that joke down.
I sure can. You don't want to test me.
Damn, he's right.
You do not want to test me, my friend. Not today.
Okay, fair enough. I'm teasing. No disrespect.
I guess we can also say this since it was on cast.
Yes.
Liam is writing this episode.
Yes,
Indeed.
yes, he is. Liam is writing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be eating good.
Liam cooks yet again.
Indeed.
I am
also,
very. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
Sorry, yeah. We also have some breaking news as this was just revealed while we're recording this, but according to the Fireside chat that just happened.
Oh yeah,
about an hour ago.
We literally started as the Fireside chat was going. That took us by surprise.
Yeah.
Oh.
It seems like Billy will also be directing on the episode.
Oh, they did just.
So,
they said that. All right, cool. I mean, I guess since I just gave it away. Full disclosure, I know who the crew is on this fight, but I'm not saying it for the sake of safety reasons.
Yeah. Right.
No, that's fair.
But I knew ahead of time that Billy's directing and Liam's writing, but that's
That's fun.
yes.
Yeah.
And we also know who one of the animators for this episode is, because Moro actually he tweeted yesterday that he actually completed his segments for this fight the day before. So just as the episode was announced as the next time publicly, by the way, he completed his animation bits. So we're gonna get more Moro goodness. So yeah. We also know what these two will sound like, but we don't know who's voicing them.
Yeah, and truth be told, I can't tell. Like, I can't pick out a voice. Like, they sound good. I like how they sound. It's just I can't tell like who. Like, I can't guess who either of them are at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoever they are, they definitely picked some good actors because both characters have pretty distinct voices that are hard to replicate.
Yes, I do know there has been one person whose name unfortunately escapes me. Please forgive me. He actually campaigned to audition for Bill when he heard that this fight would be happening.
I know who it is, but it's definitely not him. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Leviathan from Smash Bros.
Yeah. It also does not sound. I thought they would just go the easy route and just have Liam do the voice because Liam sounds like he could do a good Bill voice.
It's not him.
Yeah,
Sounds like he would though. Yeah.
Yeah. Discord is a little bit more interesting because
someone in the Discord server is I don't want to say they're convinced, but they brought up the idea like if that was I'm going to butcher the name. I apologize. They've not been on Death Metal before. Alex Rochan, I think his name is.
I think I know who that is. I think I know. Maybe? I don't know. I will say though, Discord's voice sounds very good. Okay, obviously it's going to be very hard to do a good John Delancey voice. I mean, the man's voice is just buttery smooth. Like, especially whenever he's doing the comedic bits for Discord, that's very hard to just nail. But whoever is doing the voice, it sounds pretty close. I think that's as close as it's gonna get. Obviously, what now? Okay, maybe in another universe where there weren't contractual red tape, it actually would have been cool if maybe Alex Hirsch and John Delancey got to be a part of this. Mainly Alex Hirsch. I think I could buy it with the Alex because Alex he's done the voice at conventions and stuff, and he actively on social media, he's always doing something Grunkle Stan related. It would have been cool, but again, I understand that red tape, and John Delancey.
I could totally buy Alex Hirsch being the voice though, like if they were able to.
Yeah. Well, no. Now just thinking about it, because one of my siblings told me John Delancey actually has stated that he would absolutely love to do something Discord related in fan medias. It's just I think maybe there is that problem that they would have to try and sneakily get him in. So but regardless,
be an Delancey type thing.
These two sound good, and it does sound like they're doing a good job honoring both Delancey and Hirsch. So I like it. And it is cool that they actually dropped their voice clips for for the preview after Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. So yeah, awesome. Also, as to who's probably composing the track, I'm just gonna. I would say it could be Brandon. I think Brandon could do a good job of Discord and Bill track.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. I feel like either of them, like their musical styles could fit either pretty well.
Agreed,
so.
Yeah. You never know. So yeah. Also too, maybe this is just wishful thinking. Since Discord and Bill are just capable of rewriting reality and changing things whenever they want, maybe we could get some Popeye versus Saitama style segments where we switch animation styles. Maybe not. I don't see I don't see them doing a 3D segment because I'm not sure if Bill or Discord have good 3D models. I think they would just have to build them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe
with this being the 2D poll winner, like I think they just stick to that.
Yeah, but maybe switch up styles. Like I don't know, maybe claymation or retro hand-drawn cartoons. I don't know. Just again, the sky's the limit when it comes to this episode being just a 2D episode. It can play around with different 2D styles.
That's true. I'd be down to see that.
Puppets.
The sock puppets, yeah.
Let's go. Sock puppets, absolutely, yes. We can. We have the budget. We have the budget to build custom sock puppets. I can confirm that.
I hope so.
Or even better. I've been loving the Ruby VTuber stuff. Well, just imagine they're fighting as VTubers. Let's go. Discord and Bill are fighting in a VTuber style. Let's go.
God damn it.
It is. It's again. This animation. This episode can be This episode. I think this episode is going to be a lot of fun on a technical level and a production scale.
For sure.
Like, even if the outcome isn't who people want it to be, I at least think you can grab them with the cool animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess before we get into that, unless there's anything we're missing, production-wise.
Let me see. So aside from we don't know who the researchers are, wishful thinking, again, I would like it to be DJ Tiki because DJ has said that he would love to take a stab at this fight on a research basis, but I don't know. I do know, if I had to just common sense dictates that I do know he's most definitely going to be editing this episode. Like he'll be the one putting it together. Which in that case, DJ
has said like that he hopes that people are excited for it because he's been cooking.
That's good. That's what I want. DJ, you know, I tip my hat to you, my good sir, as always. And I look forward to seeing what you're serving me. Because you haven't missed so far. So yeah. No, fuck no, he doesn't. No, he does not. He's good at what he does, and he is. He's fucking amazing. He's beautiful. Love him. But okay, so yeah, I think we have covered everything production wise.
But I guess then before that, I guess we'll have to cover. I mean, before that, I mean, it should be pretty obvious. I think it's all agreed. Cipher wheel. I mean, there's the question mark.
It is the question mark. It is the question. Like,
no way.
Definitely.
Yeah,
no, it has to be the question mark.
I can't really see like any of the other symbols being that. So
yeah.
Biff Weed just texted me saying he thinks Bill versus Discord is the beaker.
Of course he does.
He does. He did fight with Ford, who's very smart. So no, I'm kidding. He's a pretty gifted science. Anyway.
I mean, Discord. Ray can back me up. We have seen Discord do science experiments, so we know he's
okay.
a
My God. Okay. So I mean, actually, no. It's okay. Jokes aside, yeah.
No.
I wonder how long we can keep this going without sounding overbearing.
Okay. All right. Let's get into what they can do. Let's just get into what they can do, which I feel like that alone is going to be a short enough segment because that's just it. What can't these characters do?
I was gonna say it's more a question what can't they do. I mean, like they can do a lot.
So. Okay, I actually do know something that did that. I do know something that Bill can't do that say Discord can do. I do know because it's never been shown to us that Bill has any kind of soul manipulation. I don't think he's been shown to do anything regarding like manipulating or erasing your soul. Do I believe he would be capable of it? Yes, but I think there wasn't any evidence suggesting he could. But again, that this is going to be the tricky part with Bill, and that's about it.
Nope.
Toe to toe with Discord because base Bill is. How do I describe this? Base Bill is just he's powerful, but he's not that powerful. When he gets Weird Mageddon, he's essentially nearly unstoppable.
Yeah, Weird Mageddon, people becomes a lot more just a lot more chaotic and a lot more powerful. So
yeah, absolutely.
So.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Discord. Discord can do anything and everything. He can use his powers at any time, any place. There is legit nothing he cannot do. He's pretty.
He's been to other universes too.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. He's on record saying that he apparently visited the Marvel, DC, and Alice in Wonderland universes, and then we see in an official Transformers animated guidebook, he makes a cameo appearance in one of the pages as well, implying that he's visited that world too.
Yes. I guess if I just had to specify these characters in Versus series terms. With Weird Mageddon, I would say that that Bill is pretty much close to being universal, because again, he can do anything that affects the whole universe. Whereas Discord, I feel like Discord is either high multiversal or he's damn near outerversal.
Yeah, there's a lot of arguments going on that he reaches that level of power. At the very least, though, we definitely know he's like universal to possibly multiversal at best.
Yes, and I also just want to say that no, because I know the argument has to be. I know this has been a popular thing that exists because of the third journal entry that Ray happens to have in his possession. That somewhere in that journal. It has been stated that Bill is capable of being high tier 11th dimensional. But I would like to just say that I believe, like everyone else, that information is false because Bill himself states that at he's 3-dimensional because when he comes into our world, he needs to craft a 3-dimensional body to pretty much have to be in our world. So when Gideon met him, he was 2-dimensional. So that was his level of power. It was 2-dimensional. But once he finally came into our world and he got Weirdmageddon, he was 3-dimensional levels of. He had 3-dimensional levels of power. So just want to throw that out there because I know the 11th dimensional is always being brought up for Bill, and there are theory videos either agreeing with this, debunking this. I personally don't find any evidence to suggest that he is 11th dimensional, because if he's 11th dimensional, then why the hell didn't he just what was stopping him from taking out the whole damn universe and these 2 annoying preteens who were giving him a hard time?
That's pretty much my perspective on it as well. Because the thing you also have to remember too is that as fantastic of a resource as Journal 3 is, it's also written from the perspective of the main characters. So one thing that definitely needs to be considered is that in spite of their intelligence, they do not know absolutely everything in and out about everything in their multiverse. So it's important to consider that when considering the contents of what lies within. A lot of it, obviously is accurate information, but there's stuff that still implied to just be primarily speculative. When it comes to stuff that Discord and other creatures with his powers have said in the context of MLP, however, usually they're straight up saying it, and they're saying it in a way where it sounds more believable because and they can actually just demonstrate it straight out. So I'm more inclined to believe a first-hand account in comparison to something that's written from the perspective of another person. I could say that oh, this person with this weapon can do this thing, but would you rather take my word for it or from the person who actually owns that weapon, who's actually used it?
Yes, exactly. No, it does. It's pretty much going back. It's like everybody's saying, oh, Goku in his Super Saiyan form was capable of destroying a planet. But everybody's like, what are you talking about? There's no way he could destroy a planet. We haven't seen him do it. Yes, we haven't seen him do it, but there is more than enough evidence to suggest he can do it. He just, doesn't, because that's where his muffins.
Why the hell would he?
Exactly. That's where all of his stuff is. Why would he blow it up? But yeah. I also want to go on record and say I don't believe I know they're probably. I hope they're not willing to go this far to source out whatever they can on Bill from a combative perspective. But I do want to say there exists an AMA, a Reddit AMA that came out a long time ago with Bill, and yes, where Bill basically was answering questions, and he was it was Alex Hirsch as Bill, but people were asking him things. And I can't remember the specific question, but I do remember Bill saying he can do anything and everything. He has no weaknesses, and he has unlimited power. But if you watch the series, in the 5 episode appearances that he appears in, you know that, okay, he's just blown his ego. He's literally just, it's ego. It's his ego.
He's a cocky motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. It's his own. He's inflating his own ego. There are limits to what Bill can do. So that is really the source of what this debate comes down to: is can Bill match Discord in terms of output power? Because, and I guess now we can just go into the debate, because we pretty much, again, I don't know. We can, I know Ray and I can just list off things that Discord could do, but I think that would just be counterproductive, because we can just sum it up by saying whatever, just think of it like this. Again, Bill and Discord are essentially Batmite and Mr. Mitzias Spitlick. anything you can think of, they can do. It's just one has more limits than the other.
Right.
Yes.
But okay, so debate: who's gonna win, and who are we going for?
That's interesting.
I guess I mean,
Good.
it's no secret. I really hope that that Discord manages to pull through. I'm not sure if he will end up winning in the episode, but in my personal opinion, I feel like that's probably where they should land in terms of like who the overall winner should be. It's definitely going off of how Death Battle would probably approach it. It's definitely going to be a very close matchup. So I feel like this is going to be one of those things where they have to look at a bunch of like tertiary factors for both of them to really consider like who is very likely going to outmatch the other.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think Discord, like, you know, obviously both him and Bill, they just have like a bunch of similar powers. They can pretty much just do anything. I think besides like the whole power scaling stuff, one of the big factors for me is that while Bill definitely has like a whole lot of experience over Discord in terms of like how long he's been alive, granted most of that time was also like just him, you know, just doing his own thing, and you know Discord spent most of like I think 100 years or 1,000 years or so as a statue. But I think when it comes down to like overall experiences with like stuff that they had to deal with, and like their characterizations and how much progression they've both had as characters. I mean, it's like we said in the beginning, like Discord goes from being a villain to being a good person, and he pretty much develops himself throughout the show and learns to take certain matters seriously. And you know, he's made mistakes, but he's learned from them. And I feel like when it comes to someone like Bill, it's definitely not only is he not someone he's not already familiar with in terms of like power set and all that, but a lot of like what I feel like a lot of what Bill is going to be able to bring to the table is stuff that would be nothing particularly new to Discord. And I think overall when it comes to like because with Bill in particular, he also kind of just like, it's like we said earlier, he gets defeated by the main characters of Gravity Falls, and he it's done in a way where it feels like, you know, he probably shouldn't be making these kinds of mistakes, but he still does anyway, and you know, it is the canon way that he gets defeated. So I feel like just taking all that into account, like, you know, obviously not trying to like downplay Bill at all, you know, not doing that, but
plot writing is fun that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because, yeah, no, to just quickly back up what Ray said, it is due to plot armor that both of these characters lose in the end. Because, okay, just comparing it, you know, Bill had the powers, Bill was literally God. He could do anything he wanted, everything he wanted. But instead, he pretty much, there was a point in the end where he made it clear. He said he was going to kill the main two characters. He literally said he would kill them. But throughout that whole thing, with these powers that he now has that are amplified with Weirdmageddon, he essentially did the whole Scooby-Doo chase thing. He chased them around, and he allowed them to get the drop on him. Like, the main thing is, one of the main weaknesses, I guess we could point out for Bill, is his eye. His eye is his literal fucking weakness. If you use spray paint, or if you just poke him repeatedly, or if you say take out his eye, he will be momentarily blinded, and it will cause him agony. But that's how he was defeated. His plot armor way of defeatment was the kids and their uncles getting the drop on him, even though realistically they shouldn't have been able to get the drop on him. And then you go to Discord. Discord was defeated by the main six, but here's the thing: as soon as Discord shows up, he takes out and takes over all of Equestria. He even takes down the main six, even with the elements of harmony. And they hadn't even met him, but he knew about them. He knew everything about them, and he took them down and immobilized them like that. I can't snap my finger, but you get the gesture. And only by the end was he defeated, because he really did underestimate Twilight. It was her and her determination and the love for her friends that pretty much got everything back together, and they didn't, and they froze him again in the statue, because spoiler alert, Discord can't die at all. He can't die.
Even when they tried to like destroy his physical body, he still just came back as a spirit.
Yes, and he can just reconstitute his body, because Discord's whole thing is and correct me and if I'm misinterpreting this, but the way I'm interpreting this is, as long as chaos itself as a concept exists, Discord will not die. He's the literal embodiment of the concept of chaos.
Yeah, and actually, question about that, because this is something we've talked about with my friends when discussing this match. Is it true that he feeds off it, like he gets more powerful from like chaos and chaotic stuff, or is that Discord? That is.
It is true, yeah. I don't have the sources on me to back it up. I have to go back and look at through my stuff, but that is an actual thing. Like throughout both the comics and the show, we see some characters. The comics most notably introduces a character named Cosmos, who was Discord's crazy ex-girlfriend, and she, like Discord, is also a Draconicus, and she represents she is the embodiment of malice itself, and she feeds off of that, and she grows more and more powerful. And she basically straight up says, like, as long as it as a concept continues to exist, she can't truly be killed. So the only way that Discord and the others are able to defeat her is to banish her towards the moon completely without her powers. And I think originally, the leaders of like the world of Equestria had to also like split off like Cosmos's powers into like I think it was like 6 separate gems or something like that, and to get her full powers back she had to like reconstitute all of them, but that's basically how it all works, like, with her being the embodiment of malice, the Discord being the embodiment of chaos, just feeding off of that. They're just going to be a constant, like they're always going to be around, and they're going to become more powerful as long as more and more of it is introduced. And if a character like Discord, like, that's pretty much like his whole bread and butter, which is why I think if Weirdmageddon becomes like a factor in the fight, it probably won't mean too much for him, because I make this joke often with my friends, but I think that Weirdmageddon would literally just be Comic-Con for Discord.
Yes, Weirdmageddon and the Nightmare Realm, those are actually things that Discord has dealt with or has experience with in his own universe. So yeah. I have seen people say, oh, well, what if Bill were to go into the Nightmare Realm or use Weirdmageddon? Spoiler alert, that wouldn't do anything to Discord. If anything, he would just be excited by it because he knows those type of concepts, because he's dealt with those type of things before. There's proof. I can't find the source for the life of me, but there is proof that the MLP universe does have its own form of the Nightmare Realm, and Discord does know about it. So I don't really see that factoring into anything. Now, I know people will look at the episode where Discord, Ray, you'll remember it better than I will, But that episode where Discord was trying to be nice and he was trying to be less chaotic, it was kind of implied that if he wasn't feeding off chaos or if he wasn't being a chaotic nature himself, he would start to lose his soul. But there was no evidence to back that up. It was just Fluttershy telling him that he was disappearing. So we don't know if this was indeed the only way to get rid of him, other than, I guess, obliterating the concept of chaos itself.
Basically. But obviously, like, with Discord's opponent, that would kind of be, like, a very arduous task to do, because he literally is just chaos, too.
Yeah.
I think one more thing I wanted to add on to that as well is that...
Go ahead.
Yeah. When you look at both these characters, I know it's very easy to side with one or the other because of, like, how much more relentless or violent the other is. In this case, you know, with Bill, like, he's obviously, like, you know, I didn't get to, like, describe much of him earlier, but, you know, it's like you guys said, like, he's a fantastic villain. He's, like, pretty much malicious all the way through. He's, like, very well written. You know, to quote Kratos' voice actor during the Game Awards, he's one bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
But when it in relation to that though, like, you also have Discord, who, like, for the most part is pretty much more of a prankster kind of guy. You know, you don't really, like, see him doing a lot of crazy things in comparison. Like, you know, he does his thing where he takes over, he defeats a lot of the main characters, he pretty much no-sells everything that's put in his path. And he has very few limited weaknesses, but we don't really see him, like, go all out in the same vein as, like, Bill when he's, like, at his full potential, when he's, like, very much angered. But the thing that people need to pretty much remember, or at least realize when it comes to Discord, is that he's always pretty much playing around with everyone he encounters, because he is powerful enough where he can afford to just, like, be more chill, be more relaxed, and just not take things super seriously. But on the very rare occasions where we do see Discord taking matters seriously and into his own hands, this dude is, like, a powerful threat to be reckoned with. Like, literally, you do not want to see an anchored Discord at all, because this dude is something else.
And the best way to do that, to bounce off of what you're, to back up what you're saying, if you want to piss Discord off and see him take things seriously, just all you have to do, go fuck with Fluttershy. The instant you touch or mistreat or hurt Fluttershy, he will kill you. He's not taking it seriously anymore. He will kill you.
Yeah,
like,
don't mess with her. Don't mess with his friends.
Yeah, no. Well, it's more so Fluttershy because I remember the episode. It's on there where Starlight was telling Discord that, oh no, something happened to the main six. It's like, oh no. And Discord, he couldn't care less. Like, he respects the main six, but they're not his friends. But as soon as Starlight mentioned Fluttershy, he immediately stopped her, and he was like, what did they do to Fluttershy?
Yeah.
And you saw how pissed off he was getting. So yeah, that's an easy way to just fuck with him and piss him off. Is just you go after Fluttershy. And I also don't want to sound mean to Bill. I really don't. But Discord is when Discord was a threat, he was a threat to be taken very seriously. When Bill was a threat, he didn't really do anything all that impressive. I hate to say it like that, but it's like Bill only did, like, maybe one evil, dastardly thing that really made him a credible threat, aside from just taking over Gravity Falls, and that was incapacitating the Time Baby, and that's it. Like, he didn't... when you get down to it, his role as the main and final villain, he didn't do anything that was that impressive, because he mostly kept getting overwhelmed, surprised, and he was generally just getting one-upped by the main characters and even the supporting characters. Not even the main characters, the help the people in the background were able to take him by surprise, all because of his own egotism. So yeah, I do agree. I do think that Discord is just more impressive as a serious threat, and I think he does have more showings of power. But I don't want to put Bill down, because for whatever Bill was, at the very least, he can't say he had the power. He was the guy, but it's just his reign as the guy was kind of underwhelming, and it was short-lived. So, yeah. So, I don't want to paint this as a stomp fight, because I want to go back to what Ray was saying. Do I think Discord should be the winner in this obvious stomp fight that is ever stomped? Yes, I think he should, but there's something in my mind telling me that that there's most likely the only way Bill would win is if they came up with some random bullshit that they pulled out of their ass and made the suggestion. Like, if they came up with an argument that, let's say, can't be backed up, but that's the reason why they believe Bill can win, maybe I could see them giving it to Bill. Just because, again, I don't want to put bias in this, but they have had a tendency to lowball MLP characters before, and I'm kind of afraid that they will.
Okay.
Look. Am I saying they're going to lowball Discord? At this moment, I don't know. I don't believe that at this moment. I'm just bringing up past experiences. But I will say, I do believe that there is a strong case to make that this could go either way. It is an obvious stomp fight, but I really do want to say that I think they could find a reason to give it to Bill. Just because perhaps, maybe, they've come up with some kind of argument that that nobody's taken into account.
That's really the only way I could see it, yeah.
Well, ZDogg, you have notes. Is there anything interesting you want to bring up?
I mean, nothing that I can really see, that could, affect anything. I guess just the main thing, I know about this is, I feel like with how many powers they have, I just feel I know we said, there's a lot more things that would work on Discord, or there's a lot more things that would work on Bill than things that would work on Discord that both have. So, and I mean, the only thing I can bring up is their speeds. That because I know Bill has a very impressive feat of flying to Earth to what is it? Earth to Saturn in 2 seconds. I don't know if there's anything impressive Discord has that could like change that?
I do believe I do believe Discord has similar speed feats. Because so I'm not. So I actually do want to say that if we're just looking at this stat-wise, both of these two are dead even.
Okay.
There really is nothing one can't do in their base stats that the other can't do.
You said it was Saturn,
Yeah.
right, ZDogg?
It was, yeah.
Okay. I'm Google searching. Give me a second.
Okay. I can't remember the specific episode or comic feats, but I know Discord has also done the same thing. He's traveled either septillions or quintillion times the speed of light, so he is also capable of FTL travel speeds as well.
That is
I just can't find the necessary resources to give a specific example. But I know. But again, there's another thing to consider is that he pretty much he's comparable, if not even greater than Princess Luna, because Princess Luna was able to travel at incredible speeds in both the dream world and into reality. and I know that the rainbow powers, and if I just throw that over to someone like Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash has shown that she's able to fly past Mach 10 speeds in the first couple of seasons of the show, but as time goes on, she has been shown. She's been the one. She and higher tier Pegasuses or Alicorns like Luna and potentially Celestia, they can go to FTL speeds.
Okay.
And Discord was able to, and where I'm getting with all this is, Discord was able to take down both Luna and Celestia, who can raise the moon and the sun. And they had to ultimately freeze him as a statue in order to best him.
Okay.
So I decided for the hell of it, because ZDogg said that Bill flew from Earth to Saturn, and you said 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just decided to put that through a crap load of Google converters to see just how fast it is. Hopefully none of them failed me. I got about 2,000 something times faster than light. So
yeah, that sounds about right. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I mean, truth be told, I feel like I've been pretty convinced on Discord winning, unfortunately. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, no offense to Emma or Discord, but it just sounds like he has he has a lot more he could do to Bill, and with their stats basically even, it just sounds like just the powers that Discord does will affect Bill. It sounds like they're way more potent. So I think I will be siding with Discord. So, unless there's anything else you want me to bring up, but I think we did it all pretty well.
I just asked if you had anything. I don't have anything specific in mind.
No, I think because a lot of these powers I'm seeing are just null and void against. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have again, I know it sounds like I'm going back and forth, but fuck it. I'm just, for the underdog's sake, and this is going to be very surprising. I'm going to go with Bill.
Okay.
Really?
I think. Yes. No. Now, okay, and I want to correct, and I want to make sure I don't give Brobuscus the wrong impression. I'm not saying these guys are going to fuck this up. I honestly don't know what's going to happen because this is a very special episode, and it's being made with what's the word I'm looking for? It's being made differently than most other episodes this season. So what happens, I don't know. I won't know until the actual episode comes out. But I'm just saying, for this episode, and the reason I bring up past experiences is they have never been able to just do the best they can with MLP in terms of properly giving them a good scaling back to the other combatant that they had them against.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Completely fair. This, like we said with Raven, I mean, things have changed with Death Battle researchers a lot in the past few years. So I'm sure that they will give proper scaling to other characters.
I will also point out that I've been told they feel like this is the case for every episode, but I guess they just have to make sure with this episode, I guess, they made it a conscious effort to make sure that both sides get their due. So
that's okay. That's fine. That's
not me saying that that's not me saying oh yeah, Discord's easy Discord victory. I'm just saying if Bill wins, it's gonna be because they actually believe he wins. It's
and that's fine.
There's not going to be any sort of like. I will also say I don't like the idea of using past experiences to judge this one, because like Raven versus Twilight was what, 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago.
Yes, it was 5 years ago.
Things have changed, not just with MLP, but with the show as a whole. I guarantee you that everybody working on this wants to make sure that they do it right. So,
yes, I understand.
If you're siding with Bill just because of like past experiences, then I might just put you into the Discord. Like,
no, not necessarily. I think they're probably going to find something that can give Bill the win. I'm not saying they're going to be biased, because truth be told, I don't know. That's just it. I don't know. I can't say things without backing them up. I'm just saying, for now, it looks like Bill is the underdog, and this is an obvious stomp in Discord's favor, because Discord pretty much beats him in every category. Maybe speed can be argued, but even then, I would say that, okay, and maybe experience can also go to Bill. So that's two things, experience and speed, potentially. But in terms of just raw power, Discord has more showings of it, because he has more appearances than Bill. That's a fact. You know, Bill, the poor thing, had only 5 episode appearances in all of the series. And there's also a lot of conjecture to back up what his level of power is. So that being said, no, I am not holding them. I'm not saying Bill will win because Death Battle is biased towards MLP, or Death Battle is going to just give Bill the win. I'm not saying that. I am saying, and why I bring up past experiences, is that up until now, they've never had the best and easy time to properly calc or scale MLP characters because of circumstances behind them. This time, it's different. They do have the time, because they most definitely have been working on this fight for a while. So I believe now is a better time than any. And if they legitimately just come out and give an argument, it'll essentially, to me, it could potentially be like Ben 10 versus Green Lantern all over again. I can like the episode, but I don't have to like or agree with the conclusion, even if they try and give it to me the way they're giving it to me. It's just a personal disagreement. And bear in mind, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern was one of my favorite fights of season 6. I literally put it high up with, if we were to just rank season 6, I would probably put it higher than All Might versus Might Guy. I'm not fucking kidding you. I really do like that fight now. But either way, yeah, I'm going for Bill because I feel like they probably were able to find something, and that will help Bill. And you know, I'll just be happy. All I can do is just be happy that these two are even here, because they were never probably going to do this until the fans asked them to.
Yeah.
So again, and this is what I don't want to avoid. And again, I'm just saying this. I understand that every fan base can be toxic and they can be overly passionate, but I still hold I hold these two franchises in high regard. I'm passionate about this fight, yes, but I'm not willing to go to insane levels of toxicity just to prove how I think I know this fight's going to go down. That's not fair, because again, that's the beauty of these fan bases. We can all be better than that. We are better than that. We love these characters. We love these shows. They really were there for us in a dark time in our lives. And I want to just see these two shows. Not one show. I want to see both these shows and their characters get the proper respect and justice they deserve. That's it. I want equal equality rights for both these two. So just letting you know, Brobuscus, I know you had a bad taste with this debate, and that is why you have chosen not to participate with us, and I absolutely 100% understand. I do. I understand that completely. What fan bases don't have this kind of thing going on, though, to be fair. But I am not one of those people who are just going to blast these guys and say they're going to rig this fight just because of some bias or stupid conclusion. As long as they give me a good fight and they deliver on the first of what could be many new champion episodes, then I'll be happy with that. Because this is something we need to look past. We need to look past this. This is a new golden opportunity for us, the fans, to be involved with the creative process of Death Battle now. We will be handed the power and the keys to dictate what could be a potential matchup and what style it could be in. That's a beautiful gift we've been given. And this episode is now the foundation of it. It's now set it and Cole versus Alex have essentially now built and set the foundation. And whatever comes out next year in the brackets, it'll be just another brick on top of a wonderful, beautiful building.
There you go.
It's agreeable.
Well,
We'll
I guess I have to make a decision now.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Oh wait, Ray, did you say who you were going for? I'm sorry, Brobuscus.
Oh, no, it's okay. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but yeah, I'm also gonna say Discord. I'm hoping he's the actual winner in the episode, but in just my personal opinion, while it would probably be a close fight, I think Discord has what he needs to win the fight.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was gonna be the contrary one, but then Richard just decided, I'm gonna go Bill just because. So you know what? I'm gonna put faith in our guest. I'm gonna go with Discord.
Thank you.
That's my vote.
And
I didn't do it. Okay, to be with respect, I didn't say I'm going for Bill just because.
I know. I just let me have this, okay?
That's fine. Hey, I love you. Come on. I love all of you.
To be honest,
Exactly.
This is probably I didn't want to go into it because I didn't want to ruin the vibe, but this is the least I've cared about who wins in a really, really long time. So I haven't really been paying much attention to a lot of the debate. I don't want to say I haven't been paying attention to you guys, but I'm saying just in general, what's
You haven't sought out other people's opinions on this debate.
Yeah, it's what's the general consensus? I don't fricking know. It seems to be going both sides, but I could not possibly tell you why. Because I never really cared to find out. So this time I'm just kind of well, I mean, our guest is going with Discord, one of our hosts is going with Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well jump in on that too. And if I'm wrong, then
so be it.
Throw my hands in the air, say oh well, and move on with my life.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
And I guess I mean I feel like this should be this should be the case for every episode, but especially this one. Listen, I know it's been toxic, but if you disagree with us or anyone else, please be respectful. Versus debating is subjective. If someone believes something for another character, as long as you're respectful about it and present it in a respectful way, I do not care. we do not care. As long as we just want you to be respectful when you're doing this stuff. That's all I ask, and that's where I will close it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
Basically, the life lesson you should learn from this episode is don't be a dick.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's a more harsh way of putting it, but I mean, yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
please don't be an asshole about it.
I gotta contribute somehow. All right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, did I ask how long we've been going for, or?
Close to 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, roughly.
Gosh. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, we're not done yet, so don't get.
Okay.
So get comfortable.
Yep.
So Mr. Ray, you are our guest of honor. You are sitting in our golden guest chair that we absolutely have. So we would like to ask you some questions. You know, you haven't been on this show before, so let's get the audience to know you a little bit, assuming they don't know you already from the Crossover X days. But so it's death metal questions mostly. But well, I mean, I guess we're on a pretty mixed question mark. I mean, it's really just me. Vibe as is. So let's just continue that trend. What is your least favorite episode? I made that needlessly complicated, but here we are.
Nah, it's all good. Honestly, at this point, it's kind of hard to say. Like, when I got brought in on the Nervebender podcast way back, I think one of the episodes I did list as being a personal dislike episode is like Raven versus Twilight, just mainly because of like, me not really liking how they approach production with that, among other things. But I do kind of want to see if I could think of something else besides that, because I feel like I've already gone into great detail about that episode, and I mean, Rich already had his rant too about it, so I kind of don't want to like just add on to it. In terms of alternative episodes that I don't have a particular fondness of, it's kind of hard to say because we're nearing 200 episodes at this point.
That is true. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, like what? Like 3 episodes later, next season will be episode 200.
God.
I guess in terms of like an episode that's like, let me see if I could go with a modern pick, or at least a semi-modern pick, because I feel like it'd be like way too easy going after like a season 1, 2, or 3 episode. Actually, you know what? Let me pull up the wiki right now just so I can like. There's so much episodes. Death battles.
So when you say semi-recent, like how like what are like the cutoff points? I guess.
I'm gonna say probably starting from. I want to say maybe starting from 6 or 7, since I feel like that's when they really started to find their footing with the modern version of the show. At least in my opinion. I don't know if you guys disagree with that.
I can see that, yeah.
Let me see. I'll start with season 6. Alright, I guess I'll pull from a random episode here that just immediately calls out to me, but I guess Aang versus Edward Elric is something that I kind of wasn't too big on. Like, and it's sad because it was something that I was actually looking forward to a lot because I love both these characters and I love their shows. But you know, I'm definitely of the same mindset that they probably could have done a little better with in terms of the overall writing. It's not an entirely bad episode. Like, I think the research was okay. I think in terms of like voices and like some parts of the animation and all that, and some of like how they characterized them and like the analysis and all that, like all that was like all good. So it's not an entirely bad one, but I guess it's just really misunderstanding the characters of both Aang and Edward, where it's just like, you know, you have Edward literally doing the same one-note joke for the entire animation, and then you have like Aang just completely going against his character towards the very end of it. And I understand Death Battle gets rid of the whole morality thing where it's like, oh, you know, just even if your character's pacifist, like no matter what, they have to kill their opponent. You know, that's just how it is. And I get that, you know, and there's definitely ways to make it work with a character like Aang. I just think that in terms of how they went about doing it, they probably could have gone about it a bit better.
I think like the easiest fix ever would have just been like have Aang not say that that Ed left him no choice, because it makes it seem like it makes it seem like Ed was more of a threat to Aang than like Ozai was, and he was like a world-conquering madman. So like,
yeah, and even Aang spared him. So
yeah,
this kind of speak a lot.
I have an idea of how they could have made it work and better for the kill. Okay.
What's your idea?
Okay, so my thing is, you don't have to have any. You can just Granted, this would have been a detraction, but I think it would have been worth it. Just after Aang is in the Avatar state, and he's causing all of this mass destruction everywhere, Edward is trying to get back up and fight, but then all of a sudden, and Aang realizes this, he even tries to warn him to get away. Ed is just crushed under some random debris or fire, or he's basically just crushed. And he doesn't listen to Aang because they literally do portray Edward as stubborn and not all there tactically. So it feels like, yeah, Aang indirectly killed him, but he didn't directly kill them. He even tried to help and warn him to get out of the way. So it keeps Aang's character intact, and he was being the peaceful and pure airbender boy that we all know and love him for in that series till the end. So essentially, in layman's terms, Edward Elric was done in by his own machinations and stupidity.
That's fair, yeah. I feel like that's probably a good way to go about it. I mean, they've done it. I feel like they've done it before on the show too, so they probably could pull something like this off realistically while not going against their own rules of the show. So,
yeah.
I will say I think this. I'll agree that this episode isn't that great, but I feel like this one's garnered a bit too much of a negative reaction, and it's really just because of the characterization. And to be fair, if it's bad, then it's bad. But I feel like I feel like everybody's focusing just on that, and they're not giving. I mean, I guess it could just be a case of nothing else really stood out as much, but I don't know. I mean, I say that as someone who's only in it for Aang. You know, I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, but I don't know. I mean, aside from the ending, I thought Aang was done fine. And the animation is okay. You know, it's not my favorite ever. I have my problems with it, but I don't know. It just seems like compared to more modern episodes, it just kind of feels like everybody's latching onto this one as this is the episode that ruined their experience for them. They ruined this is the this is the mood killer episode or something. I don't know. It's a bit of an overreaction, I feel, but obviously if you don't like it, then you don't like it. I'm not trying to detract from that. Like if you don't like the episode, then whatever. But
that's Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I was just gonna add. I don't like this episode not just because of the characterization of Aang. I just don't like it because the animation and the sprites they use are just not that good to look at. They're too pixelated for me. If that makes any sense.
I will say outright in Rich's defense, I don't like the sprites particularly for Aang either, because they're literally
they're not great.
Like those have no offense to the original creator of them, obviously, but I've seen those sprites thrown around in other animations and like Mugen characters and all that for the longest time, and I really don't like them because they feel very weirdly designed. There's some moments in the actual fight where they make custom assets that actually look pretty faithful to Aang, but I don't know. I just think this is definitely something I feel like could have benefited from being a modern episode because they definitely would not have used a JUS kind of style for the sprites. With Aang in particular, it's very obvious. It's like a reskin of Naruto.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good though. Like, I tried. See, the thing with this episode too is that, like, because Bro has a point. Because I definitely think that this is like an episode that probably has a bit too much negativity garnered around it, but it's definitely not bad. In fact, it was honestly kind of hard to just reach in and like pick something that like I truly dislike from like the modern era, because they're just kind of hitting it out of the park left and right with these. So I guess by process of elimination, if I had to pick an episode that has the least amount of like favorable factors for me, I guess that one comes to mind. I could probably, if you gave me enough time, I could probably find more, but for the sake of like not extending this episode out more than it needs to be, I guess for now that's my answer.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't think we've ever really taken the time to discuss this episode anyway, so you know what? We take those.
Future season 6 ranking?
We have to. I feel like that's
one day, but not today.
Not today. No, we definitely don't have time today. Holy shit.
Gosh.
Well, anyways, on a more positive note, what's your favorite episode? I feel like this should be easier for you.
Favorite episode. Let me see. Most recent episodes have definitely been bangers. Trying to think though. I think my original answer way back was like Starscream Rainbow Dash, but obviously times have changed. I still kind of like that episode. I know it's not like the most favored one, but there's stuff about it that I do appreciate because it's the reason that got me into the whole versus community in the first place. So there's that to take into consideration. But in terms of like a modern favorite episode, season 9 had like a lot of like good bangers on here. If I had to pick from them, shoot, I kind of sort of want to say Trunks versus Silver.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like this. Probably like the ones that come really close are SpongeBob, Aquaman, and Star and Lich King. But Trunks versus Silver is probably like the most like. It's funny too because like, I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball and Sonic, obviously. But these two aren't characters that I have like the most personal attachment to, even though I do like and respect them in their own contexts. But it was definitely interesting seeing that episode being announced and then having like confirmation like in the trailer that like, oh, but this is not going to be the game version or the standard manga / anime version of Trunks or the game version of Silver. It's going to be Xenoverse and Heroes Trunks versus Archie Silver, which immediately makes the concept of this matchup a whole lot more interesting to consider, because like regardless of like which direction you would stand in for who would win that match, like there's so much, like it's an actual conversation, like there's stuff to consider for both of them. And
it's not
It
just
really made me intrigued with the episode.
It's not just Trunks wins the end.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool because, like, you know, it's sad because I wish R2 Silver was like the Silver we had in the games, but all the same, like, at least it is still an official interpretation of Silver that we do have, and it's nice to see him. And it was also very nice to see Xenoverse/Heroes Trunk as well, because I really loved learning more about, like, the lore of, like, both these characters. They definitely seem like the highlight of their respective spin-off franchises. When it came to, like, how they approached the actual episode, I think they did, like, a phenomenal job with it. I remember watching it for the first time, and I'm not even kidding, I was on the edge of my seat when we were getting to that climax, because when Silver pulled out the when he pulled out the what was it called again? Like
the time stone, I think.
Time stone.
Control.
When he pulled that out, I was like, oh my god, is he actually about to win? And then, like, I literally, like, this rarely happens with me. Like, you know, I've had moments where, like, I would be surprised by something that happens in a death battle, like, definitely throughout the whole series. But I don't think I've had such a reaction since, like, Snake vs. Sam, where I literally just, yeah, like, I clamp my heart with my hand, and I'm like, holy shit, like, not only did Silver actually fucking pull it off, but this is, like, just in general, like, a phenomenally approached episode in terms of how beautiful the animation is, the voice acting, the music, how they explain the outcome, the analysis. Like, that's an episode I can easily go back and rewatch, like, dozens of times if I really wanted to. So that's one in particular that I would say is, like, easily a highlight. So that one's a favorite for sure.
It's fun for me. It's fun for me because, like, I mentioned this last time we talked about this episode, but I'm a monumental Sonic fan. Like, I could sit through the worst. So, like, when I saw that, like, they were doing, during the break, they had that teaser that showed off Trunks, and I was like, oh well, shit, okay. Because I knew what or at least I thought I knew what they were doing. Just gonna drop Trunks versus Silver on us, and I was just gonna be like, all right, cool. The episode's gonna come out, Silver's gonna lose, and I'm never gonna think about this episode ever again.
They made it so much more than that.
But then they, like, as soon as I saw them turn it around and make it Heroes and Archie, I was like, oh wait, hold on, that changes everything.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it kind of made it a discussion. It made it more than just, oh, okay, well, gee, I wonder. But even still, like, even though I was, like, pretty much convinced that I was gonna be going for Silver, I was still, like, there was still that thought in the back of my, like, whenever, like, a character I really like gets in death battle, like, regardless of their chances of victory, there's always going to be that bit of, like, paranoia in the back of my mind, like, are they gonna win? Hold on, wait, I don't want to see them lose. I have been both surprised and devastated by that before. So even though I was like, okay, I think Silver's going to win, I think he should win, I was still in the back of my mind like, he's gonna lose, isn't he? So not only did they, like, prove me wrong, but they proved me wrong in honestly one of the most badass ways possible. Like, the fact that, like, the fact that they made It's No Use cool is illegal. But I but I also, like, straight up, like, just for the, like, catharsis alone, I had nothing against Trunks, but I was, like, hardcore rooting for Silver. Just the catharsis alone just makes it one of my favorite line deliveries in any death battle. And just, like, I was legit, like, floored. I was like, oh, he actually won. Okay. And even after that, I was prepping for the next episode. I was getting all the stuff I needed for that. And even still, like, I couldn't stop thinking in the back of my mind, like, I cannot believe he actually freaking won. Like I get a huge amount of joy and, like I said, catharsis when I go back to the episode and I hear Wiz say the winner is Silver the Hedgehog. Like that just puts a huge smile on my face every time I hear it.
Who would have ever thought? Like seriously.
Yeah. Because like after like what 8 years or something, however long this matchup's been requested for.
It's been a decade. I know that.
Yeah, but the entire time it's like Trunks wins.
Then I guess it also didn't help that you had a bunch of animations in between that time that had like Trunks winning so many of them, and then Silver losing
exactly.
a bunch of them as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, my favorite, 1 minute melee had freaking base Silver go up against Super Saiyan Trunks, because that's fair.
That is fair.
But after so long, I just hear Wiz say that Silver wins the fight. I'm like, hell yeah, he does.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to finally do that, and
Thank you.
like that fight had no reason, in my opinion, to be the best Dragon Ball related fight to date. Had no reason to be that good. No reason,
For sure.
but it was. And it was good. And regardless or not, I'm just happy that I got to see Trunks in death battle. And I'm okay that he lost because, and I know people said, "Oh, you downscaled Trunks. You underplayed him. He was robbed." It's like
I do not care. I know I'm.
And what did we say? And I remember our discussion. What we said on this podcast last year. It took the most power. It literally took the most powerful version of Trunks for Silver to win. It took they took both of the most powerful versions of these characters and actually made it fair and a balanced matchup. And once again, throughout that whole fight, that I've seen it multiple times, Trunks and Silver are just so fucking good. Their characters, they're great. And also just hearing Kaiser Neko back as Trunks in some capacity, it was a very good treat because, again, Kaiser, next to Eric Val, I love Kaiser Neko as Trunks. Like, I think he literally encapsulates that version of Trunks if he had a little bit of a comedic angst to him.
Yeah, I'm not even a huge DBZ fan. I'm not even a huge DBZ Abridged fan, but I still felt quite a bit of joy hearing Kaiser as Trunks.
Yes, and again, Hedges of Tomorrow, based fucking song of season.
It's still one of my favorite tracks Death Battle's ever done.
Agreed.
I
listen to that like every other week.
Yeah, like. I mean, tracks have come out since then that leave me like questioning, like, oh man, is this my favorite? But I will always say it's still kind of like the big three right now. It's this one, it's Fireborn, and it's Dragon Dance that are like the three that are like I cannot decide between them. They're all freaking amazing.
Maybe one day we'll do a track.
Oh gosh, no.
But yeah, no, and also to credit to my boy Origin for the custom sprites that was on display, especially for Trunks. Thank God they used Trunks's past heroes look because his modern one sucks. Look up his modern one. It legit looks terrible. It looks very terrible. They literally shave. He's got the shorter hair again, but he's not wearing the coat. Like I
kind of like.
He's wearing. Yeah, I do too. I grew up with the shorter hair, but it's just like that look was perfect. I like the whole ponytail look, long, short ponytail look. But they essentially gave him a ketchup and mustard kind of outfit.
I'm looking it up now. Yeah, what the hell is this?
Gone is the drip. Gone is the black coat drip, and instead he is just wearing this monstrosity. He made Zeno Trunks uncool look ridiculous, Japan. Toei, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, no, I agree. This episode is based. It will always be based, and it's going to go down in history as one of, if not my favorite Dragon Ball related fights, like, of all time.
The fact that like SpongeBob vs. Aquaman gets announced immediately afterwards just had me
Yes.
That's still,
we know
I
it's
still,
from, like,
Wow.
one episode, but then we get into finally SpongeBob entering the fucking show.
Yeah.
I still
That
remember
was
my initial
wild.
reaction to that. I was completely
I do
floored.
too.
We were like, what?
Right.
Excuse me? What?
That was honestly one of my favorite times to be in the community. I won't lie.
That was like, it was like a
God.
huge roller coaster. Like
Yeah.
it, like we get the like big dramatic music, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? And then it says like, hold, like, what is it? Hold your barnacles or something. And I'm like,
Yes,
wait,
on
I'm
your
like,
barnacles.
and I'm like, wait,
Yeah, that
what?
would be-
I'm like, wait, what? And then they show SpongeBob. I'm like, wait, what? And then
And
Aquaman.
it's
And then,
Super Friends Aquaman.
well, not just that, because I thought it was, I thought it would be regular Aquaman. I just thought they just showed Super Friends just for the sake of it, and then they had the end screen say like it was Super Friends Aquaman, and I just like could not say anything. I was like, okay, so I was like, wait, they're doing SpongeBob versus Aquaman? Okay, I mean, I guess, sure. And then, just it being Super Friends, I was just like, what? Like,
Yeah, what?
Gosh.
Good times, good memories.
yeah.
Sure.
Indeed.
It's hard to believe both those fights are going to turn a year old.
Oh,
So coming October.
Can I mute him?
That's right.
Do I have permission to mute him?
Oh, come on!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
Or
know.
am I?
I know.
No.
But
Okay. Well. Anyways, before we drag on too long, a couple more questions. More like one more question, and then kind of like alluding to a question you've actually already answered without meaning to. What's your most wanted episode? What's a match you've been wanting to see for a while?
Oh, that is definitely an interesting question because for a while at this point, because Death Battle has knocked out so many of the ones that I've generally have wanted to see. So in general, it's kind of hard for me. I know for other people, it's easy for them to have a top 10 list, but for me, it's kind of difficult because I'm wondering like, what do I truly want out of the show that they haven't already done? And I think if I had to pick one in particular, because I know this is something, at least if you guys have been following me for a very long time, this is probably something that you know that DJ and I have expressed interest in doing in the past, at least with Crossover X, but I would definitely like to see Spike from Cowboy Bebop versus Revy from Black Lagoon show up as an episode in the show. Cause
That's a match I haven't heard about in a while.
Yeah, both shows are great. I love both those characters, and it's something that both me and DJ have been wanting to like hit for like a while. I just love the matchup conceptually, as simple sounding as it may be to like the average person who may not know of them. But I definitely think that the right hands, especially like if it ends up being DJs, which I mean, I would be damn surprised if it doesn't end up being DJs. It's probably gonna be like one of the coolest episodes in the series. Maybe not the best, but definitely something that'll be like a highlight for sure. Because I have like a high respect for both these characters, and they definitely like have left quite an influential mark in like anime. So I would definitely like to see both of them enter as their opponents as the most wanted.
I love Cowboy Bebop, and I've always
It's a
been
great show.
wanting. It is a great fucking show. It's literally one of the best anime shows of all time. Like, it's right up there in the top 3, maybe even top 2. And I've always wanted them to tackle Cowboy Bebop because it wouldn't be that hard to do Cowboy Bebop in Death Battle, and Spike would have to be the best one they could do. I do think that the show is long overdue. It's an anime that's long overdue because how many Dragon Ball characters have we had? How many Naruto characters have we had? Bleach characters? We haven't had nearly enough One Piece characters, but we've had all of the big shonen characters and their animes being included in Death Battle, but we haven't had the classics, the ones that got us into anime. And I think Cowboy Bebop is a heavy contender to be in Death Battle, especially since I think it would be nice to see the fandom come and just say that, oh hey, Spike from Cowboy Bebop's on Death Battle. It's like, oh my god, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always nice when you get stuff like that.
Yeah, no, and it would definitely help us. I mean, we've already kind of forgotten about it because it came and went pretty quickly, but it would help us just remember that good thing there's only one Cowboy Bebop show. Yep.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
Just
I love
one. Granted, I haven't seen the show, but I've heard nothing but bad.
I detect a hint of sarcasm.
Yes, your detector is working. I've not seen Black Lagoon, so I'd be very interested to learn about that. I always love learning about new animes and seeing if they tickle my fancy.
For sure, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen either of these shows, but Cowboy Bebop has been on my ever growing backlog of animes to watch.
I feel that.
It's thankfully a short show too, so it'll be one of those shows that are easy to tackle once you get to it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I have to give it
only thing I'm really familiar with is that, if memory serves, Spike is voiced by Steve Bloom, and if
this is correct,
and because of that, I want him to win.
This was so no joke. This was actually Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. This was actually these were the early days of him breaking into the anime, into our radars, because around the same time, because he was in both Samurai Champloo. He was the main character. He played Spike and Mugen in Cowboy and Champloo, respectively. And it the early 2000s was known as the Steve Bloom Renaissance because he was all over the place. He was in Cowboy Bebop. He was in Samurai Champloo, and of course he was Tom. He was Tom in Toonami. On Toonami.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you love Steve Bloom, which I know you do, then that's the main reason to watch Cowboy Bebop. In my opinion, I think Cowboy Bebop, Spike is Steve Bloom's best performance that he's ever done, and it's his early days.
Dang.
That is I legit do. His performances as Mugen in Samurai Champloo, it's good. His performance as Wolverine, it's also good. And his performance as Amon in season 1 of Legend of Korra is also very good. But oh my god, his performance as Spike is fucking beautiful.
There's a reason that character is held in such high regard, and it's interesting because I can't remember where I heard this or if this is necessarily true or not. It's just something that immediately comes to mind. But I remember hearing from people that when it comes to how you experience Cowboy Bebop, a lot of people usually prefer going to English dub. mainly due to like how well they handled the production for that. And I have to imagine like his performance in that show is definitely like one of the highlights, and why many people drift towards that version before like the Japanese. It's interesting to think about though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, I guess to wrap this up, I mean, I don't really feel the need to ask because you already answered. But so your first episode, that was like season 8 was kind of the big like legacy season. This show's been going on for over 10 years, and no, I did not just make myself feel older by saying that. What are you talking about? But back then and to this day, we've been asking people like, what is their first episode? How do they get into Death Battle? Well, I mean, you kind of answered it earlier with Starscream versus Rainbow Dash. Do you have like is there like a story behind that, or?
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually quite interesting. So, like I said earlier, I was an MLP fan before I was a Death Battle fan. But I did obviously get into Death Battle around the time when it was in its early prime when it started. So when it came to discovering that episode, I remember. So there's this community-run news website called Equestria Daily, which is run by MLP fans for MLP fans. Shout out to my man Cal Payne, nice dude. He used to run on the website. And at one point, because I used to go on the website every day just to see what the latest is in both the community and with like anything Hasbro's announced with the show. In particular, I remember one day coming across the Equestria Daily posting about the episode of Starscream versus Rainbow Dash. Obviously, like they kept it spoiler free. I remember being intrigued by it and like wondering like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. Like, cause at that point, I have seen other versus related things prior. Like obviously, I've watched Deadliest Warrior growing up. I remember it. For those who have cable, if y'all remember Clash of the Nicktoons on Nicktoons Network, I remember seeing that too. Obviously, I'm a huge Marvel vs. Capcom guy as well, but I've never seen anyone make quite like a concept like this, like taking two fictional characters, doing like actual like science and math related research to see like who would come out on top. And that's what got me particularly intrigued, and the fact that Rainbow Dash was already like one of my favorite characters from the show during that first season. It got me interested, and it's funny too because ironically enough, the episode inadvertently also got me back into Transformers, and it made me like want to rewatch the G1 show and rewatch all the movies and then the other like spin-offs afterwards. And to this day, that still sticks with me. I'm still very much into both franchises. So it was cool just seeing this go down and just seeing like something like this. So I watched the episode, and I remember like just being like totally excited by it. Like obviously this is season 1, so like times were different, but I really enjoyed like how they like put together those analysis where they have like the rundown for the characters, they analyze their speed, and they even involved the MLP physics presentation, which was a pretty famous thing in the community at the time, because that whole thing that proved how fast Rainbow Dash moved was like something that was that was the popular thing that people had seen prior in the community when it got posted. Like it was literally like a dude that presented it as part of his physics presentation for college, and the fact that they in a completely rare moment in Death Battle history, it's cool to see that they included something like that, like what is literally a fan calculation that helps support their hypothesis on the episode, which is something that we rarely see nowadays, but it was cool that they included that as well. And overall, like I liked some of the things that they did with the episode. Like I liked how they approached it with them being like at least seemingly unbiased towards either franchise, because they really did still make it seem like it could have been anyone's game until the actual like conclusion. But overall, just seeing how the episode ends, and then just like seeing like the reactions in the comments and all that, it was pretty cool. Like it got me to want to stick with the show It got me more interested in versus as a concept. So I went back and watched all their previous episodes from the first one up until like I think Chun-Li versus Mai was the previous one before that one. And then ever since, you know, I've been subscribed, I stuck around, you know, I visited this, you know, I've known about Screw Attack obviously for a while, but that's what really got me to like stick with their website for like a long time. You know, I have memories of like, there's one specific memory, if that could be tangential for a moment, where I remember going into like a Best Buy and they had like the Apple like iPad kiosks over there, and I remember going on there just to like browse their internet browser, and I went to Screw Attack's website and I saw that like Eggman vs. Wily had finally come out, and I watched the entire episode on that iPad in the Best Buy. There's like memories like those, especially of like the first and second seasons. It's like that's stuff that I'll treasure pretty much like forever. You know, I understand completely that people are like are mixed on Starscream Rainbow Dash now, and it's for completely valid reasons. You know, I understand that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but in spite of all that, it still sort of remains a sentimental episode for me, because I probably would not be here right now if it wasn't for that episode, and retroactively, like stuff like Crossover X or the Gauntlet probably wouldn't exist either. So, you know, and it's funny too, because you know, with me writing Timmy versus Twilight, for those who have read it, you know, Starscream versus Rainbow Dash was one of the many inspirations for why I wanted to write that for the longest time, because I've mentioned that project took over 8 years to make, at least when it released. At this point, it's been over a decade. But that whole thing existing was a result of me thinking like, well, you know, they did a cool Rainbow Dash episode, but who could like Twilight fight? And one of the first people that came to mind was Timmy, particularly because of like Magic and Tara Strong and all that. Admittedly, yeah, Raven came into the picture later on, which is something I also wanted to do for Crossover X, particularly the animated series version. But with Timmy versus Twilight, that's something that I wanted to stick with for all time. I wanted to actually see that fully realized. Obviously, the only issue was that both shows were still running at the time, so I would have to constantly update those bios. But eventually both came to like a solid conclusion, at least not solid as in like a good ending in Fairly Odd Parents' case, but at least both shows ended, is what I'm saying.
Rufus.
So I was able to just, I was able to just lock in like research for both and just finally release it and finish writing it and all that. And based on the positive feedback, you know, I'm glad it had to turn out it did, because that whole thing was like essentially a tribute not only to both my fascination with those shows, but for Death Battle as a whole. So definitely, if it was not for Starscream Rainbow Dash, I probably like would not have as much fascination in this whole thing as I do right now. So I feel like maybe at some point I probably would have ended up finding Death Battle one way or another, but for sure, I'm glad that because of that episode I got to stick around from the very beginning, more or less.
It's crazy because like, because this was my first episode too. For completely opposite reasons, but you know, but it's interesting because like, I hold this episode to a bit more of a negative light, like you alluded to it, and I didn't want to like bring it up. There was a jab I could make at any point, but I didn't.
It's all good.
But even still, like, I can't deny that if it wasn't for that episode, I probably just straight up wouldn't be here. I don't know. I might have stumbled across other episodes later, but as far as I could tell, like, if it wasn't for a friend of mine at school telling me, "Hey, by the way, I ran into this thing on YouTube that put Starscream up against a pony," and I was like, "Wait, what?" Because you have to remember at the time, like, there was that like, I was like, what, 11 years old at the time, and like that would have been the latest episode that came out, was Starscream Rainbow Dash. But there was this stigma as a kid for My Little Pony. It's like, oh, it's the baby show for babies. It's the baby girl show for baby girls. So like when I hear that like they pit Starscream, a Transformer, and a character that it's from a franchise I've held near and dear to my heart since way earlier than that. They put up against a character from My Little Pony. 11-year-old me was very, very confused. And 11-year-old me was even more confused when Starscream ended up losing. But all that aside, like I agree that like even though I personally hate this episode, but regardless of that, it is the episode that I watched first, and it is the episode that kind of got me into this show and in turn into this community, and that's why we're all here now. So so for as much as I would love for as much as I'm like, yeah, but also screw this episode, it is the one that I'm like, man, I mean, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. So it's fascinating to me how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. We've been going on for way too damn long.
Yeah.
What else is new?
That fair.
Well, it was a good conversation all throughout, though. I appreciate like getting to spend my time with you guys today.
Yeah.
And I will say outright, like, this being like probably 3-4 hours long, like, it's no surprise to me because my friends and I run a similar podcast, and we also dive into like the 3-4 hour marks occasionally.
Yeah.
So I can at least I can tolerate it.
I mean, I don't care. I make the joke, but I don't care.
No.
I'm just glad that we could all come together and
Yeah.
we liked for this long. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just sorry I couldn't like participate more because
It's okay. It's fine. Well, I mean,
when
your mental health was first.
when Cole versus Alex comes out, everything will be better. I promise you. just comparing one champion's ballot matchup to another. When that episode's next, everything will be we'll all be in. I'm sure of it. But yeah, so that's that. So we're gonna wrap it up here finally. So Ray, thank you for coming on.
Yes. Thank you very much.
thanks, Ray.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Anytime, buddy.
Yeah, and if there's any matchup you want to come back for, please let us know, and we'd be happy to have you back.
For sure.
Yeah.
So hope you guys enjoyed. I really do hope you guys enjoyed Martian Manhunter versus the Silver Surfer. If you didn't, I guess I understand it, but also okay. All like negativity aside, I really hope y'all are excited for Bill versus Discord. I know this wasn't the most like super energetic podcast we've ever had, but it's also A, it's late, B, I got back from work just moments before we started recording, and C, there isn't a C. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Just be sure to be respectful to each other when the episode comes out.
Please.
That's all we have.
Please,
That's all we have.
like, just please be respectful. I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't care what your overall opinions are. I mean, I say that. I'm interested to know, but please don't be a dick about it. I think we've all had enough of that since this episode's been announced.
Yeah.
And I guess a real quick bit of shilling before we wrap up. I did finally finish. We're not going to talk about it in depth for this because we've been going on for too long. maybe next time. Well, I don't know. I also am not confident that these guys have read it, but I did finish my Shantae versus Lilac script. So there should be a link in the description on this video. If not, you can find it on my Martian Manhunter for Silver Surfer reaction. But I did finish it. I think it turned out pretty cool. So if you could please give it a read, I'd greatly appreciate it. So yeah. With that, also I am like 6 subscribers away from 1K. Can we please get that? Can we please get to 1K, please?
Yeah.
Free. Here.
That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, okay. Now we're gonna wrap up. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you all when Bill vs. Discord comes out. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone. I'll remember you all in therapy.